Well, they pick their side from a huge pool of talent leaving college, so we can be assured of some of these players bringing NBA and CBA experience to this tournament. As for the home side, the London Towers, well, they're certainly not short on talent or experience. And the chance for them to play against a team such as Maccabi in tomorrow's final, if they win here in this next game, stands them in good stead for their European campaign this season. Now, it's the London Towers side that we've all been eager to see perform for this coming season. And believe you me, with some of those old familiar faces, it's just like old times. Let's meet the teams. With the Towers back in Europe this year, new coach Ron Aberglen isn't going to be fazed by the experience.
There's probably not too many things that I haven't seen in basketball. I've been around a long time. I've had a lot of players play in Europe. I'm pretty accustomed to the pressure.
And when it comes to handling the pressure, he knows he has a team with plenty of experience.
I think my experience is well renowned. I've played everywhere, and I know what's needed to win games. I think that's what I bring to the table. I'm a leader, and I know how to win games. I know what it takes, and hopefully that can rub off on some of the players, and we can be successful.
I think the maturity level, the game experience that you have a guy like Steve Bucknell that's been playing for 10, 12 years, then you have a very experienced veteran. I think that's an advantage.
With the new additions and the majority of the senior players remaining at the club, the spirit in the camp is high.
Well, I'll tell you right now, with the team we have, it's just like old times. You know, it feels good for myself to come in with a group of guys who I've already played with before and not have to learn their style of play. You know, that's the good thing about it for me this year.
Yes, the confidence is high because in practice every day we're competing against each other, and the practice is kind of hard, so it's making us even better as a team and making us gel together, not going out there thinking that one man is going to win the basketball game, because that's impossible.
With the team that we have this year, Martin Henlon, the Neville Austins, you know, the Steve Bucknells, you know, those are our big guys who played in Europe, who know the game, who know the style, and can be very effective when we go to Europe. So I'm very happy with the team this year and the level of the players, you know, mentally and physically that we have this year.
Nevertheless, the team know what a tough competition they face this weekend.
Sainsbury's is important because it's our first step. You know, we don't want to trip and fall at the beginning.
Intent on making the job difficult for the Towers will be the Athletes in Action team from the States.
I believe tonight it'll be a really exciting match. They have a little more size than we do, but I think we have pretty good quickness, and we're going to have to play really good defense and keep the big guys off the boards and yet contest their outside shooters. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
And ex-NBA player Walter Bond isn't underestimating his opponents, as the Towers are not all strangers.
They have some experienced players like Steve Bucknell from North Carolina, so you know, we got our hands full. We got a good team, we got some talent. We got a chance to practice a couple of days, and you know, we're hoping that we can give them a run for their money.
The athletes, though, are not fazed about the prospect of playing in front of the Wembley crowd.
We can't do anything about the crowd. One thing about the Athletes in Action team is we always have a negative crowd. We always travel away to play, so it's going to be a similar situation for us, a familiar, I say, situation for us as it's been all year.
But one thing's for sure, the Towers will have a tough job on their hands with a side brimming with quality.
We do have some very talented players who played in the NBA, and those are the best players in the world, but we also haven't played together very long, and we don't know each other real well. It's a fun team, an exciting team, so I think that'll make it a real even match. We're playing, you know, here in England, and kind of like a home away from home for London Towers.
Expect a very good game today. You've seen the London Towers in preseason. What can we expect from them?
Well, I mean, they're very good, and I think the biggest difference maybe in this game is you got the Towers who've been together for about a month now, guys that have been together for months from last year, and then there's some guys that played together a few years ago, so they're going to be more of a team. I think Athletes in Action may have been together a couple weeks, guys coming from all over the place, so you may see a difference between all-stars and a team-orientated basketball.
Coach Ron Aberglen takes over a veteran-type team. What's his role with the Towers?
Well, I think he's got to try to find out what the players can do well together, put them in a system to take advantage of their strengths, try to minimize their weaknesses, and he's got enough talent out there, great veteran professional players. All he's got to do is give them organization. His job is to organize that talent into a cohesive unit.
What can we expect from the Athletes in Action?
I think they're a very athletic team. They're very talented. They certainly have talent. As we said, there's some former NBA players. Torrey McCormick played at the University of Miami. Excellent shooter, really good ball handler, good three-point shooter, can put it up and score. Played for Leonard Hamilton, a good friend of mine. I saw Torrey a bit when he was in Miami. And they're going to come out and they're going to play hard and they're going to play with pride. They are a crusading group of people, you know. They're on a mission, and wherever they go and they play, they witness for the Lord. But at the same time, they're also very good basketball players, and they will come here to try and put on a good show.
The Towers are back to the Twin Towers of Henlon and Neville Austin. These guys do what for the London team?
Well, the biggest thing Martin Henlon does for them is give them a great defensive presence and on the boards. Neither one of them are great offensive scorers. I mean, they can score a little bit if they get penetration, dish to, things like that. And Neville gives them some depth. I mean, Martin will be able to play really hard for maybe 25 minutes, and Neville can pick up the other 15. So it gives them good size, good defense, and good rebounding.
Malcolm Leak, Randy Duck, both coming back for their second season. As a coach, are your expectations that much higher the second year?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, although Ron didn't have a chance to coach them last year, he knows he's been dealt a hand that's full of chemistry and full of talent.
Leak is out with the sprained ankle. You look at a team like the Athletes in Action coming in, an all-star team. What are they here for?
Well, they're on the start of their tour. They play some games here in Europe, and then they go back to the States and play a pretty heavy schedule against big-time university teams. So this is kind of their preseason as well. They're here, like Billy said. They witness while they're here. They do some outside work outside of basketball. But again, this is kind of their preseason, getting them ready to roll.
Winner?
I'm taking the Towers.
And you got to be going with the Towers because you picked them to win the tournament.
In the last game, though, Nick and I both picked Benetton, and they got beat. So I don't know. You know, he just said Towers, and I want Towers to win. But, you know, based on the first game, I better go with the Athletes in Action.
You can put hand over heart, and you really want Towers to win, huh?
I do want Towers to win. Hey, we're both in Europe this year.
Okay, now it's time for team intros. Daniel Rutledge will guide us through.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Yes, let's get straight into introducing the two teams tonight. We're just waiting for the benches to be ready. Athletes in Action will be introduced tonight first as the visitors.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please welcome our guests this evening from the States, Athletes in Action.
Just being introduced over the PA to the crowd. Number 12, Mano Watso will be first out. Guard from Western Ontario. Torrey McCormick. David Daniels is next out. Sean Durden, number 22 from Idaho. Kenny Harris come out, another guard. Small team, this Athletes in Action, but very quick. Walter Bond, here's a guy to watch out for, number 32. Was with Bayer Leverkusen last season. NBA experience. Number 40 now, Ronnie Granderson coming out. 51, Matt Garrison. Another one with some European experience. Played a few games in Austria last season. And Matt Fish, the big man at 52. Bill Peterson is the coach of the Athletes in Action, assistant coach at the Dallas Mavericks, and now the crowd will start to get excited as the hometown gets introduced. The London Towers. But first of all, a special entrance from the ceiling. I'm just about to see him up there. He's about ready to jump as the Phoenix Suns gorilla, and here he comes down from the roof of Wembley. Takes a look at both sides, comes down quick, but lands nice and soft. Can you do that, Billy?
I was about to say he does that very well, suit and all, you know. I would not want to be tested hanging from the roof of Wembley.
He's just warming the crowd up before the introduction of the home team.
It's great having the NBA mascots over here because, you know, the NBA is so big worldwide now, but I think one of the reasons the NBA is so big is because, you know, the atmosphere of the NBA. When you watch an NBA game, you see like the Lovables, the Chicago Bulls cheerleaders, you see this guy coming in the camera and getting in the crowd. And, you know, English basketball has tried to emulate that in the last few years, and we try not only to play great basketball, but all the teams around the country, you know, via Sky Sports and what the league has done, we try to entertain as well as play great basketball. So, you know, a night out of a basketball league game is like a night out of the NBA game, full entertainment.
All right, now we're ready. The cheerleaders are out to introduce the London Towers. And number 4, somebody knows Billy knows all about. Lloyd Gardner made the trip across town from Leopards to Towers this summer. At number 5, joining from Thames Valley, Brian Balsa. Wearing number 6, another former Thames Valley Tiger, Sean Foote. At number 7, what a great set of games he had at the end of last season in the playoffs, Randy Duck. Number 8, the man here at the Towers, Danny Lewis, championship final MVP last season. 6th year here at the Towers, Danny Lewis. Ray Schultz coming back for a 2nd season with London. Malcolm Leake, another 2nd year vet now here at the Towers, coming out next wearing number 10. Big Neville Austin back at the Towers. The Twin Towers he'll be with the big number 12 Martin Hanlon, who's out next. And back in a Towers shirt and back in Britain, Steve Bucknell. And there's a big roar in the house. He's a big fan favorite. Played all around Europe, but he's back with the Towers. And the new signing at number 14, Donnie Johnson. And the head coach, new head coach this year, Ronna Beglin. He's just wandering off to shake hands with his opposite number. That's the London Towers. We're ready in a few moments for the big game.
Hey, this game is only moments away. The winner faces the Maccabi Tel Aviv tomorrow in the championship. So, who will it be? The Towers or the Athletes in Action? Stay with us.
There's no smoke without fire.
We have about 10 hot acres in D4. Take me down.
As one man battles the blaze, discovering there's more to fight than just flames.
In case you haven't noticed, we're not firemen.
Keeping a cool head. To beat the heat.
Those 2 fires will collide. We're in the middle of a firestorm.
The first showing of Firestorm, Friday at 9 on Sky Movie Max.
To stay beautiful, you have to care about your looks. Watch what you eat. Keep in great shape. And of course, choose the safest car in its class according to Europe's latest independent tests. The new Renault Megane. Stay beautiful.
Yeah, all you have to do is buy tomorrow's News of the World and get your Tesco starter card.
Then you're guaranteed Tesco Club Card points.
Thank you very much. I know, it's amazing. It's an absolutely unbelievable offer. Yeah,
you could even become a Tesco Club Card millionaire. And it's only with this weekend's News of the World. It's what Sundays are all about.
If a butterfly flaps its wings in Kansas, and a tidal wave rises in the Pacific Ocean, what happens when I do this?
Have you ever been experienced?
Are you feeling that?
I have.
Reebok DMX technology. Performance you can feel. Are you feeling it?
From only £10,295, with ABS power steering and 0% finance as standard on all new Renault Meganes, it doesn't take much to stay beautiful.
The second semifinal is the defending Sainsbury Tournament champions, the London Towers, against the American side, the Athletes in Action. Billy Mims and Daniel Routledge are our commentators.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Let's just get a quick recap of the two-team list for tonight, starting with the London Towers. And this team really needs no introduction. 5 of them played in the championship final for Towers last year. 2 of them played for Thames Valley against the Towers, and Steve Bucknell's reputation precedes him. The only newcomer to the game is Donnie Johnson, the summer signing. To the starting 5, and Duck and Lewis finished last season as probably the best backcourt in the country. The addition of Steve Bucknell will only enhance that. Neville Austin gets the nod ahead of Martin Henlon at the center spot. To the Athletes in Action, and for those of you who don't know, these have been in action for 30 years, touring not only America but the globe, spreading their message and playing some pretty good basketball along the way. Eric Kubel, formerly of the Towers, is one example of players who go on to progress into professional careers. Looking at the starting 5, well, one guy who stands out for me, Walter Bond, who was at Bayer Leverkusen last year, has got NBA experience, as has Fish. They'll be quick, they'll look to get down the court, and they'll look to run and gun. And nobody knows run and gun better than Billy Mims. Is that the sort of thing you'll expect to see from the Athletes tonight?
Well, I think so. They'd like to play that kind of basketball, but as Nick and I were saying in the pregame out there between the 2 games, is that they haven't had much time together. As you heard them in the pregame piece, I think Walter Bond said, we've had a chance to practice a couple of times. So they'll be a bit rusty. This is their preseason. This is their starting warm-up. The Towers should look like a well-oiled machine.
We're ready to go. It's Fish and Austin to jump it up. Fish got there first, but he got there on the way up. So the London Towers will get the opening possession.
Fish is a big boy out there, too. I mean, he's standing shoulders a bit taller than Neville Austin. He is a big body out there. As you can see there, a nice big shot of him. He looks like he ought to be in a Rocky picture as maybe the next the next Russian to take on Rocky Balboa, you know.
Danny Lewis. Lewis penetrates through the middle, kicks out to Leak. Leak for 3, in and out.
Malcolm Leak was wide open for that jump shot, and Leak is one of the most offensive players they've got, one of the best offensive players in the Bud League, and there's no question that Malcolm Leak is going to get shots tonight.
Bond lost the handle up. Danny Lewis came up with it. Still Lewis. Lewis going all the way, feeds Austin. Austin strong to the hole for the 2.
Neville Austin runs the floor very well for a big man, and Danny Lewis will get him the ball.
Quick release shot. Won't go from Bond. Rebound Austin. Away comes Lewis again. Has Duck ahead of him. Good feed. Duck under the basket and comes all the way back round. First touch for Bucknell. He lines up a 3. And it won't go. Bucknell, trademark long socks on today.
Trademark long socks, but not a trademark three-point shooter.
Granderson doesn't get it going. Away come the Towers. They're looking to get up and down the floor pretty quick. Lewis's pass, a little bit too much of a lead from Randy Duck, and he takes out the sound system while he's there.
Well, listen, I saw the London Towers in preseason, one of their tournaments at Crystal Palace, when Nick was playing against them over there. And talk about getting up and down the floor. They scored about 120 points against a Latvian side that is in the Supporter Cup with them. So I was very impressed with their up and down the floor.
Duck with the steal, gets it back from Lewis and lays it in. And the Towers have come out quick, just as McCalby did in the first game.
I tell you, if the Towers are going to play run and gun basketball this year, then the fans in the Capitol are going to see some explosive triple figure scoring nights, because you know that's the way we like to play. And so far I've seen the Towers show me nothing but the same intensity.
First foul called on Danny Lewis.
We said beforehand, Danny Lewis back for his 6th successive season with the London Towers, one of the 2 most loyal foreign players in the British game. Robert Youngblood, our captain, is back for his 6th straight season with the Leopards as well.
Ball thrown out of bounds there by Sean Dearden. It'll be a Towers ball. Lewis will bring it forward. Athletes in action with 3 turnovers here in the opening minutes.
Well, as we said, they haven't practiced a lot together, and they're a bit sloppy. There's no doubt they're going to be sloppy in the early going. Great move by Steve Bucknell down on the baseline there. Bucknell just takes it to the basket. And you got to remember, he's a big guard. He's a solid 6'5", 6'6", a big guard.
He's down as, oh, good steal by Danny Lewis. He's off and running, lays it in for 2. It's the Towers 8, and the Athletes in Action 0.
Fantastic defensive effort by Danny Lewis, but he's always been able to pick pockets. He reads the passing lanes and plays the angles very well, and if he gets it, he will finish.
Shot is short from Kenny Harris, and a ball knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Harris, Towers ball.
Malcolm Leak there, you see, we get a good look at Malcolm Leak going back down the floor. Malcolm Leak is always involved in things for the Towers, whether it's defense, offense, rebounding.
Well, in the first game, it was Treviso who struggled and called an early timeout. Here, Athletes in Action are 8-0 down, and they've called a timeout.
We're sleepwalking. We lost our composure. It's one pass and a shot. Slow down. Let the air come out and play basketball. We're not taking care of the ball. We're not sharing the ball. We're playing as individuals. We've got to play as a team. Just slow down. And defensively, we got to pick it up. If we can't handle any better, I'm just going to sub and mash, and I'll get full court pressure going crazy. Let's slow down. Next time down, I want to run flex. Run the flex. Ronnie, you're popping up. Go opposite Ronnie, Kenny. All right? Let the air come out and play. Come on, let's go. Relax and play.
Just telling them to relax and play there, Billy. Just take it. And if you see here, Towers all 8 points off 4 turnovers. That's been the key factor.
Well, there's no question about it. He's been very, the Athletes in Action look like a rusty basketball team. Nick said this is their preseason. They've been together for a few weeks. They haven't played the European tours that the London Towers have. Towers have practiced for a month. They should be a well-oiled machine.
Certainly have looked a well-oiled machine in the opening few minutes here. And they'll come right back out. Athletes a bit slow. They got plenty to say there. It'll be a Towers ball from the side. And never lost into inbound.
And as Nick mentioned, the Athletes in Action are going to have a very strong schedule against U.S. collegiate teams. They generally play early mid-November against a lot of Division I teams as what is an early exhibition game for NCAA teams. But then you're talking about the Athletes in Action being men playing against boys. Today here, it's men versus men, and the Towers are veterans and professional experience and chemistry. The Athletes in Action are going to have a hard time.
Austin shoots short. Danny Lewis is there to rebound. Fish with the easy steal.
Neville Austin turned his back to that pass, never saw it coming.
And all the way down the other end, Sean Dearden out quick on the break.
Here's some good transitions. Sean Dearden gets down the floor well and finishes the play, but so far we've seen no half-court execution from Athletes in Action.
Bucknell driving through the middle. There was a holding foul before the shot. It's on Walter Bond, and that'll be his first.
That's a nice matchup, seeing Walter Bond marking Steve Bucknell, and we get a good look at the play here. Now, you see there he's okay. He's got the forearm on, but when he kept it on and kept the hand on Buck's waist, that's when we made a good call by the officials and got the foul.
Oh, nice feed from Bucknell to Lewis. Oh, didn't get the layup to roll. And away come the Athletes in Action with Harris. Way too long on the 3 is Dearden, and Bucknell will run it back. Bucknell with a little feed to Leak. Sweet pass, count it for 2.
Transition definitely in the favor of the London Towers. Malcolm Leak, 6'8", runs the floor really well. Great feed from Steve Bucknell, a leader both on and off the floor for the Towers.
Harris through the middle, count the basket, foul is called.
Now the interesting thing that I've seen so far, we talk about Fish being a real big body out there, but so far, all we've seen the Athletes in Action do is score in transition, or we see him scoring on the drive here, getting fouled by Austin. I've seen no low post game at all. We've seen jump shots, we've seen transition, we've seen penetration to the basket, but we've seen no low post play. And I believe if they don't play in the low post and try to establish an inside game, jump shots are not going to beat the London Towers.
Bucknell. Bucknell almost had it ripped away, but did well to keep it. Hands back to Duck. Lewis. Out of bounds.
Out of bounds on the baseline here. Looks like Walter Bond's kind of injured his finger. I think he stuck his thumb in the way of the ball there. And if you get caught there, fingers and ankles, the two biggest injuries in the game of basketball.
Fish off and running. Fish looking to get it back, but Henlon was there to steal quick. Leak.
That's Torrey McCormick that's checked into the game for the Athletes in Action. Walter Bond, they're almost making the steal, and there's another finger injury. Malcolm Leak looks like he's jammed one of his fingers as he drives. Walter Bond, again, you see there, that's why I say ankles and fingers, two number one and number 2 injuries to basketball players. Leak's going to stay out there, but he's going to have a little problem with his finger.
Austin strong off the glass for a couple.
Dan, just before that, too, I said the Athletes in Action have made a substitution. We've got Torrey McCormick in the game. As I said, he was a guard at the University of Miami for Leonard Hamilton and the Hurricanes back when I was in Miami. And the one thing Torrey can do is shoot the basketball.
Bond on the ball. Kenny Harris.
Nice athletic follow there by Kenny Harris. Picked up the trash, the loose ball, and put it back.
Bucknell almost had it ripped away, but was strong with it. Oh, what a great feed to Malcolm Leak.
Steve Bucknell, we talk about him being a big guard, but he's a big guard with great vision, and there he makes a great play with the dunk, feeding Malcolm Leak for the exciting slam dunk. There we go with another jump shot, and I said, you know, at the end of the day, they've got to get the ball to the basket. They've got to do some low post basketball, and again, jump shots I don't believe are going to beat the Towers.
Oh, great spin, great spin.
Malcolm Leak, and I really like this guy. I think what a bring back. I think overall, this is the best player the London Towers have. He can score, he can play defense, he can rebound. He's a tough, mentally tough player, and for my money, all around, maybe the best player the Towers have.
Good hands from Randy Duck to knock it loose out of bounds. And it'll be an AIA ball. Brian Balser checking in for the first time. Danny Lewis will go to the bench. There's Brian Balser. Summer signing, joining from Thames Valley, of course. A loser here on this very court in May against the Towers.
But what a game he had that night. I think he scored about 30 on the night. I mean, no wonder the London Towers signed him. The only guy for Thames Valley really putting on a show that night was Brian Balser.
Right through the hands of Fish, and the Towers get it back.
As I said, I saw the Towers really rip apart the Latvian team, Vince Pills, in the preseason. And in that game, Brian Balser was one of the Towers' top scorers, scoring just over 20 points, and I think he hit 5 3-pointers on the night.
I don't remember him. I was there as well. Don't remember him missing a 3.
Oh, he shot the basketball very well that night. And as I said, you know, what a great addition, because as a 6'5" English shooter who plays hard, plays defense, great addition, especially to help in their European quest.
Certainly will. Fish driving hard to the little runner and gets it to go.
Now there we go. You got a big body like Matt Fish down there on the block, and that's the first time Fish has touched the ball close to the basket. He goes to the bucket strong. He gets a little jump hook and scores. So if they can go with a little bit more of that, maybe they can test the Towers.
Ray Schultz checks in. Malcolm Leak wanders to the bench.
Boy, the Towers have a lot of big bodies. They bring Ray Schultz off the bench, and he's about 6'9", 6'10", and sitting in the substitute chair now is Martin Henlon. We talk about the Twin Towers. The Towers are full of Towers.
Bucknell going strong to the hole is fouled by David Daniels. Henlon will come in for Austin. Here's another look, Billy.
Nice drive. Again, this is what Buck does really well. I jumped on him a little bit in the beginning when he took the first shot Buck took was a 3-pointer. I mean, he can make those shots, but that's not where he's best. Buck is best at penetrating, creating things for himself, drawing fouls, or either giving assists to somebody else. But, you know, and again, you got to like what Steve Bucknell brings to this basketball team. Veteran leadership, experience, and talent.
Him and Henlon, the two vets of the team. And Bucknell, another one who got recently married in this summer.
Yeah, I think Buck's wife was a basketball player as well. She told me that she played in Finland.
Fish. Oh, good spin from the big man, going strong to the hole. Ooh, just couldn't get it to go.
See, now we got another very good, strong move by Matt Fish going to the basket there. Athletes in Action have also brought in, here we get a good look at Fish. Nice spin, strong move, and he gets fouled. I do like the inside power of the Athletes in Action, but so far they haven't really shown a propensity to go there. Big left-hander's better when he's close to the basket with that jump hook than he is at the free throw line.
15 feet's a little bit outside his range there, isn't it? Makes the second one.
Athletes in Action have also got another big sub in the game now. Number 51, Matt Garrison, has checked in as well. So they've made some substitutions along with number 15, point guard David Daniels, who just grabbed the rebound.
There's Daniels running it back.
Dan, he looks a bit like you know. He's got the goatee and, you know, the short hair. And if you had a goatee, I believe you'd look a bit like David Daniels.
Changing that 3 for Rob White fresh into the game.
He hustles like you do, Daniel.
Bucknell with the feed had it knocked away. At last touch, Henlon, said the referee. Matt Fish agreed with it. Henlon didn't. Here's another quick look.
Ooh, tough call there, tough call. Torrey McCormick kind of knocked that basketball out of Martin Henlon's hands. It could have gone either way.
McCormick penetrating, kicking out to Daniels, the fire up. Oh, it's all net from Garrison with the spin.
Nice inside basket again, and all of a sudden Athletes in Action have gotten back in this game predominantly from the interior.
The Towers led by as many as 10. It's an 18-14 ball game right now. We're approaching the midway point, and the Athletes have hit 6 without reply. Bucknell for a long 2. That's off. Schultz going after it, can't get it.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. We're going to get it done.
With a one-handed slam, and it's a 2-point ball game.
And there you see a 6'8" forward who's running the basketball floor. He just released early, wasn't anywhere around the basket, got away quickly, got the ball, and finished with the jam.
Bucknell backing in, looking for the step underneath, sweet move, and he draws the foul.
Now we see Steve Bucknell going to go back to the free throw line here, but he's taken 2 jump shots, missed both of those, and twice he's gone to the basket, and twice he's going to shoot free throws.
Malcolm Leake and Danny Lewis will check back in for Ray Schultz and Randy Duck.
As we get a good look here, Buck is so strong down there. Again, you're talking a 6'5", 215-pound guard who's strong and athletic. Look at the shoulders on this guy. There aren't many guards in this league or anywhere in Europe that are as big or as strong as Steve Bucknell.
And with Duck and Lewis in the backcourt, he'll be playing a lot of small forward this year. David Daniels at the point guard position.
We've got a 2-point basketball game. It started off like an 8-0 run to the London Towers, but slowly and surely Athletes in Action have gotten back in the game.
Oh, good hands from Duck to knock it loose, but McCormick was there to pick up the pieces. Leak for the fall away. Oh, tough shot, Malcolm Leak.
Oh, and watch the way he hustles back down the court. One time, Garrison got away and got the dunk on the far end. That time, Garrison released early, took off, and Leak chased him all the way like a thoroughbred.
Garrison under pressure from Bucknell, and he draws the foul as Bucknell whips it away. Illegally so, the foul is called. We're midway through the first half. It's 20 points to 16 in favor of the hometown London Towers. Don't go away, we'll be right back after this.
Inadequate car? Common problem. So try the new Nissan Primera. PowerGen, gas and electricity. We're the power behind power.
Welcome back to Wembley. It's the first half of the second semi-final. The hometown London Towers lead the Athletes in Action of America by 20 points to 16. Billy Mims, what has been the key factor, do you think, in the game so far? Because Towers came out flying.
Well, early in the game, I had to credit Towers' transition and Towers' defensive intensity. But the later we got there, when Athletes in Action stopped being so sloppy and stopped taking quick jump shots, they started going to the basket and they got themselves back in the game. Also, I think the London Towers, were scoring at will when Leak and Lewis were in the game. Lewis came out of the game and all of a sudden the scoring sort of dropped a little bit.
And Leak and Lewis are back, so we'll see if it goes like that as well. And here's the shooting stats for you, Billy.
Well, the three-point shooting so far, the Athletes in Action have made one. Towers haven't made one yet, but they haven't really looked to shoot that many out there. Two-point shooting has been excellent by both teams, 64, 67%. We're getting a look now at the Towers' new boy, Donnie Johnson, has just checked in, replacing one of the Towers' posts, replacing Ray Schultz. But Donnie Johnson, this is the first look I've seen. He didn't play at Crystal Palace.
Garrison hits from 14 feet. There is the new signing, Donnie Johnson.
And that guy, Garrison, that just hit over him there, is a very, very nice player who played at Biola. For most people that don't know, an NCAA Division II school in California, but one of the finest Division II programs in the States.
Here's Johnson. Lewis inside to Henlon. Henlon back into the trademark spin. Johnson there for the offensive boards and stick back, but it won't go, and the rebound with Garrison.
Garrison, as I said, he played at Biola, and they have a history of big players there. They used to play like 3, 6, 9, 7-foot players at one time.
Granderson in the low post with a nice looking spin. His first points of the game.
And they've got a press coming from the Athletes in Action. They're in a 2-1-2 full court press, something Kevin Cato used to use quite a bit of.
Lewis running quickly, had it stripped away by Daniels, and there's a foul call.
Oh, not so sure about that. Daniels really working hard. If we take a look at it, if we got a replay on that, he really came after Danny Lewis. Danny tried to break the press on his own. And watch, he's coming hard. He's got the ball. He's diving on the floor for the ball. I don't know if there's a foul there. I think that's just good effort on both players.
Oh, the quick lob in from Balser to Lewis caught everybody napping, and Lewis converted.
Nice feed from Brian Balser, and already Balser has only been with the Towers for a month, but you can see some chemistry developing between Danny Lewis and Brian Balser.
Bond drives baseline, clatters into Austin. It goes out of bounds, and will be a Towers ball.
Granderson wasn't too sure about that. I think he thought he might have been fouled on the play. But they're back in the press. They're back in this. It's a 2-1-2, but now it's a man-to-man. They've jumped out of the look here, and they're going really into a hard man-to-man pressure.
Lewis with the flip pass to Balser. Now he gets it back, and Lewis will slow it down and call a play.
We've got a 2-point game here, and Athletes in Action have stepped up the intensity.
Balser with the quick release off the back of the ring. Two Towers fighting for it. Austin comes down, finds Johnson along the baseline, and there's his first points.
And that was just too easy. I mean, he was wide open on the baseline, and he got it. He took it to the basket. No defensive help whatsoever.
Oh, all twine for three from deep for Garrison.
My big boy from California showing that he could step outside and shoot the basketball.
Played in the IBA last season, and then in March went over to Austria to play a few games. Johnson along the baseline, another easy deuce.
Donnie Johnson, the first two shots, reminds me of an old Towers player named Tony Windless. I used to call Tony Mr. Baseline, and that's where Donnie Johnson's making his living right now.
Garrison shot on the three that time, but the rebound was pulled down by Granderson. Harris has it now. Harris driving all the way to the basket, flips along the baseline, broken up by Balser.
Kenny Harris with the turnover there, but interesting thing there, he played at VCU, Virginia Commonwealth, as we see Donnie Johnson.
It's like watching a replay here.
Mr. Baseline. Just about to say, as we watch Kenny Harris with the basketball, played at Virginia Commonwealth University, something in common with one of the Towers, Martin Inland. Also played Virginia Commonwealth University.
Not at the same time, though.
You mean Martin looks a little bit older than Harris? Is that what you're saying?
Just the odd year or two. Long three there from Walter Bond.
And we still got a 2-point basketball game. 6:40 left in the first half. Athletes in action, a bit rusty, started sloppy, but they're hanging in there.
3-second violation called. I think it was on Austin. He tapped his head anyway.
And Daniel, you're checking back in the game now. We got David Daniels, Mr. Hustler. He's checking back into the basketball game. And I like what he's brought. When he was on the court for Athletes in Action, he brought a lot of intensity.
He looks a pound or two heavier than I am.
Oh, come on. I don't know. I mean, like I said, if you add the goatee, maybe the weight would come as well. I got to have some fun with you tonight, Dan. Come on, it's the first game back,
Bond into Fish in the low post. Fish going to work strong inside, doesn't get the roll, and there's Leak rising highest.
And Fish, you saw at the free throw line, we talked about him being a left-hander, and there he just backed in, had to go to the left. If he could have spun to the right, he'd have probably had a dunk, but some players tend to be just all one-handed. So far, I've only seen Matt Fish go to his left.
Austin up high, gets it to Lewis. Shot clock down into single figures. Lewis doesn't see it. The crowd calling it out to him. Now he's got to shoot under great pressure for three. And it was a 30-second violation, was it? Did he get the shot off?
You know what? I almost thought Danny Lewis was going to shoot that one underhanded. I remember a couple of seasons ago up at Chester, he hit a shot to win the game. Sky had the highlights of it. As the clock was running out, he pulled up from behind the arc and under a defender, underhanded, nailed the three. So when Danny's on court, sometimes you can see some spectacular plays.
I think there was an element of luck in that underhand shot.
No.
Judgment.
Hey, Diamond Danny would never call it luck.
Harris didn't get the three.
Kevin Cato told me Danny used to practice those underhand threes in practice all the time.
Bond in the corner for three, in and out. Johnson just out jumping Neville Austin, pull down the boards. Oh, great quick pass to Leak underneath. Great. Oh, he missed the layup. A great play all the way around until he missed the layup. Leak with the flip.
And that was kind of being in the right place at the right time. Donnie Johnson got stripped that time on the baseline. Got double teamed by the Athletes in Action. They knocked it away, but unfortunately for them, they knocked it away to Malcolm Leak, who got the garbage.
Harris along the baseline, didn't watch his feet, and stepped out. Here's another look, see if we can see him step just on the line there.
Oh, nice call there. Irony of that is, as we looked at the replay, Mick Howell wasn't looking at the floor, but he did make the right call. Definitely stepped out of bounds.
We got a timeout to the Athletes in Action. Let's go down and take a listen.
On the high pitch, they will call illegal screen every time. You've got to run him off the move. I cannot move, okay? Listen. Guys, we're doing a pretty good job. We're running triple, we're setting some screens. All right? We've got to get scrappy on the other end. We're getting our hands kicking the ball. We got to pick it up. We got to get it. And down here, when I run something and your man turns his head, heels over the side there, cut to the goal. Somebody flash in and cut to the goal, okay? Next time down, they want to run a flex. With Matt coming up, you make the cut. Got it? Yes, you be on Fish's side. Go to the left, Fish on the block, yes. You're on the same side as Garrison, okay? Matt, you pop up, hit Matt. Tell you what, let's run a flex hold. You don't cut, fake the cut, you back cut.
Just seems quite happy with things in general, but just working on a few things there. But the shooting percentage by both teams is very high for two-pointers there.
I mean, you're looking at 61% from the Towers and 67% from the Athletes in Action. And I said when they go to the basket, they're pretty good. Well, they've made 8 out of 12 shots. The difference in the game so far, the Towers have taken 23 field goal attempts from inside the arc to only 12 by the Athletes in Action.
Once again, Athletes up court with this press.
Full court man-to-man, run and jump pressure, trying to make the Towers work to bring the ball up the court, but Towers aren't going to turn it over against us too often. They're veterans and they're experienced. As soon as I say that, we get a turnover. But we get a turnover from the rookie on the floor, Donnie Johnson.
And a turnover right back as a traveling violation on David Daniels. Austin with a nice looking shot off the glass.
Nice shot from Neville Austin, you know, the England international big man. I saw Neville in the preseason again at Crystal Palace, and I thought he played very well for the Towers in that game. Ran the floor well, shot well, rebounded well, and he's showing again that he's ready to do it tonight.
Oh, that's such a pretty high arc shot there from Garrison.
Well, I think Garrison's really come to play tonight. He's got 11 points already, 5 out of 7, inside, outside. But also in the timeout, you saw Garrison trying to be a leader, stepping up and really talking with intensity before the coach came into the huddle.
Bucknell out to Duck, lines up a 3. Bucknell with the quick through the legs, flipped it to Austin, but just a little bit too high.
Towers looked a bit stagnant on that offensive possession there. I mean, they just really weren't quite sure chemistry-wise what each player were going to do.
4 fouls apiece in this one. Remember in the first game, the fouls were heavily weighted in the opening couple of minutes.
We were saying, Kevin and I were saying in the booth during that game that we shot about 50-some free throws in that first game. Not the case so far in this one.
Rebound Bucknell.
Garrison certainly not afraid to put up the shots, is he?
Johnson off the glass, rebound Leak. Leak is pulled to the ground and the foul is called.
Malcolm Leak lying on the floor there as we take a look there at Walter Bond. Walter Bond goes at him and grabs him. Walter's a very physical player. Malcolm goes down, looks like he hurts his back on the play, but you certainly don't want to see Malcolm Leak get hurt. He's coming back. He missed a couple days practice this week, according to Martin Inland, because he's coming off a sprained ankle. I really felt strongly that he would show up to play tonight because this is the showcase start to the British basketball season. And a guy like Malcolm Leak, you know, he's a TV performer. When the cameras are on, Malcolm Leak's going to be ready to play.
And he's always got that nice little routine, the hand in the air, the slap of the hip, a couple of bounces, count the free throw.
Hey, whatever works for you there, you know. I'm not quite sure where he's pointing up there, you know, to the clouds, you know, maybe Robin Williams and what dreams may come. I don't know, but he's pointing at heaven or something. But whatever happens, it works for him, and he makes the free throws. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
A couple of the doors at the back of Wembley is open here, Billy, so there's a slight breeze. It's checking the wind.
That's a good one, Dan. I like that.
Granderson fires up the 3, in and out, and away come the Towers.
Bad shot selection that time by AIA again.
Leak at the second attempt picked it up, and he's the leading scorer in the game so far. Daniels off and running, forced to slow it down by the Towers defense.
You can see that their guards for the athletes in action want to run, and here we get a look at a pick and roll with Daniels and Garrison not there. We get back out to Kenny Harris. They want to run, but they don't seem to be getting 5 players down the floor, and that's probably just a lack of training, and they're not in great shape yet.
Thrown away, and Duck has it 3-on-1 break for the Towers. Duck to Bucknell, short on the layup, and Duck will reset. No, he goes straight. Oh, what a heads-up play by Randy Duck.
Nobody guarding you. You better go to the basket. I think you know everybody in the house watching Randy Duck with the basketball here, but David Daniels. Nobody guarding him. He turns, he goes to the basket. Easy play, too easy.
12 turnovers by athletes, 7 the other way, 19 turnovers here in 18 minutes of play.
And those turnovers have led to a 10-point Towers lead.
Too long on the shot. Leak was there to pick it up. Bond picked his pocket, and Leak still clutching his hand. I know he jammed his finger earlier. I think he might have done it again. Daniels lines up a 3 and hits it.
Now, you said he might weigh a little bit more than you as we look at Malcolm Leak's fingers there. But I think David Daniels shoots the ball a little bit better than you do. You know, I haven't seen you knock down a 3 like that, Daniel.
You haven't seen me play, Billy.
Yeah, I have.
That's my game.
I saw you in a media game up at Birmingham one time.
Leak lobs inside to Bucknell. Bucknell spinning, doesn't get it to go, but there's a foul call first.
And needless to say, you did not get your job as the Sky Sports commentator from your performance in that Birmingham action up there, okay?
Probably not. Here's another look as Bucknell was going to work.
Well, you know, you got a 5'10" guard down there, and David Daniels trying to guard a 6'5" athletic Steve Bucknell. Cannot happen.
A lot of that in the first game, plays like that resulted in 3-point plays rather than 2 free throws, though, Billy.
Well, you can never quite tell about an and one, you know. You've got to really get the shot off the way you want it. You've got to really make sure that, you know, you get the shot you want, and you got to finish it through the contact. Hey, right now, Steve would probably like to get a few and ones because he ain't doing very good at the free throw line.
50% from the line. That's for tonight, Steve Bucknell. Grandison backing in, kicks it back out. Lewis with the rebound. Lewis looking to tick some time down. Now he races through the middle, and there's a foul there on Sean Dearden. There's Lewis and Dearden just reaching in.
And see, so far the Towers are doing a real good job because, you know, they appear to be in better shape. You know, they've been around longer. They're better organized. There's better chemistry. And they're drawing. Look at this play. Look at this execution.
Another one. Austin misses the layup.
They're going to get it back. I mean, what execution on that.
It's the second time they've done that little cheeky pass into the paint.
I hope my assistant coach is writing all these plays down because, look, they're just getting easy scores.
Third time.
Third time. You know, they either lob it to Danny when you fall asleep, or Neville cuts across the top of Danny and Neville's wide open. So they're just getting too many easy scores under the basket. If Athletes in Action want to win this game, they can't continue that.
David Daniels looking to tick down time. He's staring up at the clock. He's 10 seconds left. Grandison got to shoot it. Under pressure foul with 1 second left on the clock. Neville Austin didn't agree with it, but the foul was on him.
That's a tough foul because you got a 10-point lead. Now, we take a look here. The first problem is Donnie Johnson got beat. When Donnie Johnson got beat, Neville Austin had to rotate over, and then he's in a tough position. If Donnie Johnson doesn't get beat on the baseline, they got a 10-point lead going to the locker room. So tough defensive possession there for the newcomer.
Grandison makes the first.
I think we're going to see a long pass here down floor to Randy Duck. Nope, long shot.
Had the line, but didn't quite have the length. Malcolm Leake, he's been clutching his hand of late, but he's the leading scorer in the game with 14, and he's helped the Towers to a 9-point lead.
The Towers are halfway there to the championship game. They lead by halftime, 41-32. Can they hold on? Stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
Total strangers from across Britain.
I can't believe I'm here. Nah, I think everyone's good.
Brought together.
Happy for the girls.
For a 48-hour bender on Weekender.
We know we're only here for like a weekend and we're just going to go berserk.
A party of biblical proportions.
All I want to do is go out.
When our punters take to the bars.
I'm in stay out.
And the beaches of Tel Aviv.
This is the life.
The party city of the Holy Land on Weekender, Sunday at 10.
I'm gonna get you all, man. Yeah, I'm gonna
A new fragrance from Hugo Boss. Boss bottled.
At Currys, it's the final week of the sale. Your last chance for so many great savings. Don't miss it at Currys, the choice for you.
Vehicle rental made easy. Daily or contract hire with nationwide support. Salford Van and Car Hire. You're in good company.
So what time's it over there, Dad?
It's 4:30. Have you got your next move ready?
Yep. Bishop tonight too.
Not bad. Anyway, it's your bedtime. I'll fax you my move.
Okay.
Jack, do you have a view on that?
With fax and email as well as the phone, it's never been easier to stay in touch.
Think he's got us this time.
Oh, excuse me, sir. This fax came for you. Not bad news, I hope, sir.
I need to make a phone call.
Just shows what a good teacher you are, Dad.
Wherever you are, stay in touch.
Kathy, since when do you use kitchen towel to clean carpet?
Since I've been using this Bounty.
Bounty? Oh no, the tablecloths.
See, it's the most absorbent towel and...
It doesn't even drip.
Right.
What are these thingies like honeycombs?
It's what makes it so strong. Look at this. Even when it's wet, you can keep scrubbing. After others fall apart, see?
Wow, I could use more strength in the kitchen.
Bounty, the strongest soaker up. Bounty.
Fresh, healthy and glowing. Olay's brilliant new tinted moisturizer goes beyond just color. With an illuminating moisture-boosting formula to light up your face with a fresh, healthy glow. New Luminesse from Olay.
There's something amazing going on at Boots Opticians. A quite unbelievable half-price frame sale. A sale that all Boots brand frames want to be in. A sale so good, even some designer frames want to be part of it. Why not see for yourself before they walk?
The London Towers, who are defending their Sainsbury's tournament title, lead the Athletes in Action by 9, 41-32. Remember, the winner of this game plays for the championship tomorrow against Maccabi Tel Aviv, who beat Benetton Treviso 88-85. And the action has been up-tempo in this game. Here's Danny Lewis laying off to Neville Austin. The Towers went out on an 8-0 run to open this game up. Here it is when things are going right for you to go right. Buck fumbles. He gets the ball back over to Leaks, who dunks it 14-6 to the Towers. And Matt Fish shows that his hands are as slippery as his name. One of the many turnovers they had 12 turnovers that led to 18 Tower points. But Matt Garrison, number 51, shows that he can hit the big three. AIA down 24-23. Inbounds to Lewis, makes it 41-31. Here's Malcolm Leaks, the first half's leading scorer with 14 points. When we look at the first half, Towers jump off, 8-0. What did the substitutions do to their team?
Well, it looked like a serious drop-off there when Danny Lewis left again. Billy, a lot of people like to talk about how Towers go the way Danny Lewis goes. He came off, little drop-off in play. Athletes in Action kind of found their footing, pressed a little bit, energy again, got themselves back in the game.
Got themselves back in the game, but they had a tendency where they turned the ball over 12 times, led to 18 Tower points. Was that because of fatigue, or what's the reason do you see?
It's a combination, Kev, because Nick talked about it early on that the Athletes in Action haven't been together very long. They said they got a couple of practices in since they got here. And also, as you said, fatigue because, out of any team in this tournament, it's hard to come from America to England and a couple of days later play basketball. So they're still on the time factor. Their body not quite on the same time zone as everybody else here.
What do you expect to see from the Athletes in Action in the second half that we didn't see in the first?
Well, they got to do two things a little better. One is they've got to take away the inside buckets for the Towers. Towers are shooting 60%, a lot of layups, and they haven't hit anything from outside the perimeter. And the other thing is they need to take care of the rebounding a little bit. Towers, a lot of offensive rebounds and some putbacks, and take care of the basketball.
Okay, so you talked about that. Let's give a look at the match facts to see how that feels. Here you have field goal percentages, Towers, AIA.
Well, you look at 51% and 0% there, but the big thing is the two-point shooting. Both teams are shooting 60%, and the Towers have doubled them. 18-9 makes and 30-15 attempts.
And what I see is the Towers need to stay off the three-point line, and AIA needs to stay off the free throw line. Let's look at the next page. We look at the rebound. The Towers doing an excellent job on both the offense and defense, but 9 offensive boards.
Well, you got 23 rebounds overall to 11. I mean, that's twice as many rebounds for the London Towers. And what I said to Nick when I first got into the booth was it looks like AIA are playing a pickup game. They're standing around relying on talent, but not doing anything really well organized.
Okay, so next page is the odometer where we'll show the Towers led from beginning to end. They had a couple times in the middle where they got down to the 1 point, but again, like the first game, the losing side has never been able to get over the hump.
no question. I mean, they cut it close, and they got it tight with the pressure. And as Nick said, they stepped up the intensity a bit. But once the Tower starters got back into the game, they took control once again.
And that's what happened when Leak and Danny Lewis were off the court. Now, Susan Dando is down on the playing surface. She has a very, 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 very special guest.
He is very, very special. If I told you he'd spent most of the summer lying on a beach in Barbados, you'll probably say it's all right for some, but he deserves it. Nigel Lloyd, Birmingham Bullets. Good to see you back.
Thank you, Suzanne. I'm glad to be back.
Did you have a good summer?
I had an excellent summer. A lot of relaxing, taking it easy, and now getting my batteries recharged for the upcoming season.
But yeah, we've just been reminded, actually, emailing everybody. We all got messages from all over the world where Nigel was. But back to the Birmingham Bullets. How's training going?
Our training is going extremely hard. The coach is working us twice a day on a regular basis, and we're getting used to it.
Are the boys gelling? Few new acquisitions, of course, namely one of them, Yorick Williams.
Yeah, Yorick is a fine ball player. He's an up-and-coming England player, and he's gelling well with the rest of the team. The chemistry is going to be there.
What about Lee Walker? Now, he's a youngster. He played well with Thames Valley, hasn't he? He's joined the team too.
I think he'll be an unsung hero this year because he quietly gets the job done every day, game in, game out, and he does it in practice, and he'll be grooming himself for an England position as well.
Well, there's a couple of weeks till the opening of the season. There's been a few little niggling injuries, hasn't there? Tell us about those.
Yeah, well, Yorick's down with an ankle. Justin's knee sore. Big Sean, he's running around with something's injured. I think what it is we need to recuperate and get right. But we have a good doctor staff there, and they're taking care of us.
Now, are you confident how the team is gelling, how everything is gelling? Because new ownership as well. How's everyone dealing with that?
Yeah, it seems these are the trying times, but we're getting all the niggles and all the bad stuff out of the way right now, and we're just starting to go in the positive direction. And it seems like everything is starting to go well.
Now, what are your thoughts about some of the other teams in the league? Have you had much time to study who's gone where and who's come in?
To be honest, I haven't seen anyone. This is going to be one of the years when it's going to be a surprise. I've heard all the stories, and everyone seems to have gotten better over the season. But I haven't seen anyone play yet, but I believe the league will get better.
Well, you'll have the opportunity to see London Towers play in the second half of this game. A lot of people have been talking about that because it's like old times. We all remember how they did well in 94-95 season.
Yeah, I think London Towers is going to be one of the top teams this year, and bringing Bucknell back to England has got to be a great acquisition for them. So for basketball in England, that's going to be a good move.
Well, of course, we have to remind everyone that you were in the Birmingham team that beat Bucknell and the likes of those guys at the championship a few years back. So it can be done.
Yeah, I hope Steve's forgotten all about that. You know, everything is restful. We're all friends. There's no problem, and hopefully we'll do it again this year.
You never know. Hey, Nigel, it's great to see you back. Glad you had a great summer, and all the best for the coming season.
Thank you very much, and hello to the Bullets.
Hi to the Bullets as well. Back to you, Kev.
Nigel Lloyd, back again. The second half is coming up in a moment, and after the game, don't go away as this season's British League Championship review is unveiled. It's all action here, so stay with us.
At the touch of a button, live nationwide interactive football. A new way to watch Football League. Get closer to the action. Catch complete highlights. Replay those controversial incidents. And see your club statistics. All this at the touch of a button. A nationwide interactive football double. Tomorrow from 12, Sky Sports 2 and Sky Sports Extra. The future of televised football, only on Sky Digital.
Heinz tomato ketchup won't come out until it's ready. No one knows what it does to get ready. It's not like it's putting on makeup or getting dressed. But it does seem to need some time, whatever it's doing. Heinz tomato ketchup will come out only when it's ready.
You gonna have a hold then, Jay?
Holder? Hello. How do you hold a baby?
Oh, that's your uncle.
Hello.
Be right back.
That's it.
Come and visit your local Volkswagen retailer, where you can now pick up a brand new Volkswagen Polo L, complete with side impact protection and a free sunroof for an on-the-road price of just...
She likes you. Mum's been on the phone night and day, of course.
Nice hat.
Thanks. Got it from the butcher's. Where did you get yours from?
Got mine from a hi-fi shop.
Strange. Not with free internet access.
Every kind of company's at it. But now, here's something really strange. Free internet access from a pure internet company. Netscape Online. 100% net, 100% free.
Kathy, since when do you use kitchen towel to clean carpet?
Since I've been using this Bounty.
Bounty? Oh no, the tablecloths.
See? It's the most absorbent towel and...
It doesn't even drip.
Right.
What are these thingies like honeycombs?
It's what makes it so strong. Look at this. Even when it's wet, you can keep scrubbing after others fall apart, see?
Wow. I could use more strength in the kitchen.
Bounty, the strongest soaker up. Bounty.
If you're looking for a multivitamin with everything your body needs, from vitamin A right through to zinc, you'll find it in Sanatogen Gold.
If your chip pan catches fire, don't panic. Just follow these instructions. 1. Turn off the heat. 2. Run a cloth under a tap and wring it out. 3. Cover the pan and then wait until it's cooled right down. Don't try and move the pan, and whatever you do, don't throw water over the fire. The effects can be devastating.
Which one of these teams will play Maccabi Tel Aviv for the championship tomorrow? Today, the Towers lead by 9. I'm sure our commentators, Billy Mims and Daniel Rutledge, will let us know.
Thank you very much, Kevin. That's a good question, Billy Mims. Which one of these two teams will play Maccabi Tel Aviv tomorrow?
I told you at the start that I like the hometown London Towers. They won this tournament a year ago, and this year they brought a better team to the tournament than they had a year ago.
And it's they who get the second half underway. They lead by 9 after the first half. And Bucknell has a good pass inside to Leak. And I think Malcolm Leak's going to enjoy playing with Steve Bucknell this year.
No question about it. I mean, Malcolm Leak, 14 points in the game high score to this point. But, you know, Leak can score. You got to get Malcolm Leak shots, whether it's inside, outside, he's got to get shots.
Daniels drives to the middle, kicks it out to Bond. Granderson for 3. And the rebound is for Danny Lewis. Kicks it long to Duck. Duck penetrating through the middle, had it ripped away. McCormick running it back. Bucknell with the quick hands, reaching around, and he's quick to put his hand up and admit to the foul.
Buck's always been great with the officials, you know. Buck doesn't have a lot to say negative out there as you see him hammer Torrey McCormick here, but Buck's always admitted to when he fouls. He's not one of those guys that believes he never fouls anybody, you know. Steve plays the game with a lot of class.
Bond driving through the middle, strong, and is fouled by Austin, I think it is, and count the basket.
Nice drive to the basket. Now, Nick and I and Kevin, we were talking at halftime about 60% shooting as we see Walter Bond drive and draw the foul and score, the and one, as we saw a lot of in the first game. We were talking about both teams shooting over 60% in two-point shots, and what did Athletes in Action do to start the second half? They fired up a 3.
Bond converts the three-point play, and there's an injured player on the Athletes in Action bench.
And that's the top scorer for the Athletes in Action. That's Matt Garrison sitting there, who's their only player in double figures in the first half.
He's got 11 points, 4 of 7 shooting for his 12 minutes in the first half.
You know, I don't think he took that many shots that he should be icing his shoulder. You know, he must have got licked somewhere. I don't think it was just from his offense.
He does put that high arc on it, though, so it takes an extra bit of juice to get it up there. Whistle on the play. It's on 14.
Walter Bond, Torrey McCormick, you know, all of the Athletes in Action guards really having a tough time with Steve Bucknell. They called it on Torrey McCormick, but the foul actually should have been called on Walter Bond. He's the one who mugged Steve Bucknell on the replay there, courtesy of the excellent Sky Sports replay that we saw there. Cameraman doing a wonderful job catching all the action.
Bucknell makes them both from the foul line for the first time this evening, I believe. He moves up to 5 for 8 from the line.
Yeah, 8 free throws already for Steve Bucknell. That's more than the entire Athletes in Action team has shot.
And not quite sure who Granderson was passing it to, but they were sitting in the front row, whoever it was.
Just a comment we just made there. Bucknell has already shot 8 free throws in the game. Athletes in Action are 3 for 6 at the line overall. So Buck has shot more than the entire opposition.
Bucknell did well to keep it alive, found it out to Duck, but he
airball
it too long.
Too long. That's being
nice.
kind. That was an airball. If this were on the road, if this were back in the States, the Athletes in Action crowd would be shouting airball. You know, Randy's an American. He deserves, you know, he's got to bash him a little bit there.
Knocked loose by Danny Lewis there. Good hands from Bucknell to knock it away from Bond. He gets it back, fires up a 3. They're not shy of shooting.
I tell you what,
guys, are they?
I tell you what, we're not putting on a 3-point shooting clinic here. I mean, at the end of the day, if any of the young kids are out there watching the 3-point shooting, you know, close your eyes.
Duck under pressure, couldn't get the roll. Fish with the rebound. Duck and Fish.
Great steal by Randy Duck there. Just stayed involved, stayed active, and got the ball back for the Towers.
Austin stuttering through the middle, goes tumbling to the ground. A look of disbelief on Matt Fish's face there as he's whistled for it.
I'm kind of in disbelief with him a bit too. I mean, you know, he's just playing defense. You got to let him play a little bit more than that. I mean, Neville kind of tripped himself, I believe, more than he got pushed anywhere.
Well, Neville's going to get himself a break now as Martin Henlon wanders onto court.
Yeah, but, you know, as Nick and I said, this Towers team is big, they're talented, and they're deep. And here comes Neville Austin out of the game, and here comes Martin Henlon on, a bigger body. When they go to the bench, they don't get any smaller.
Lewis inside to Henlon. Leak. Bucknell for 3, short. Henlon going over the top to fight for it, and Granderson knocked it out of bounds.
Coach Ronna Beglin has really inherited a nice basketball team here at the London Towers. They brought back a lot of players from the old days, and they brought back the best of last year's team. I mean, Rick Taylor, I'm sure in the offseason spent a lot of time working very diligently to put this team together.
Tremendous fast break from, that really was Athletes in Action stuff there, the way they were going.
Well, it's still an 8-point game, and as funny, it doesn't look like the Athletes in Action are even in it, yet, you know, they're only 8 points down.
Henlon trying to lob into Leak. Great catch. Count the basket. What a play by Malcolm Leak.
Vintage Malcolm Leak here, flexing the shoulder muscles, giving a little show to the Athletes in Action. And there's no question he's talented, but Malcolm Leak, more than anything, is probably a showman.
That's a wide receiver catch right there. Under deep coverage too.
And I'm really disappointed. That was one we stopped the replay there. The best part of the play was the show he put on after the call was made.
Here he is for the 3-point play. And he leads all scorers with 19 personal points.
Maybe in the post-game replays we can get Malcolm flexing his muscles in the highlights.
Daniels slips. Keeps it ducked. Some tremendously aggressive defense. Eventually gets called for a little lifting of the leg and pushing him away with his thigh.
Towers again built an 11-point lead here now. They're up 48-37, and here comes Garrison checking into the game. So he iced down that shoulder as we look at the replay of David Daniels getting fouled there. Garrison back in the game. He's iced down that shoulder, but I think he's going to take a few more shots before this night's finished.
Daniels.
Kenny Harris coming back in for the Athletes in Action, the point guard from VCU, replacing David Daniels.
You see the hand there of Malcolm Leak taped up. It's believed he's dislocated his finger. They're just going to tape it up. He's going to play on, and they'll check it out at hospital later on. He's going to play through a dislocated finger. And he still leads all scorers.
That's what you call a warrior, you know, if he wants to stay on floor and he's actually dislocated. I told you before, Malcolm Leak is a TV player. If we turn the cameras off, Malcolm will probably go to the hospital. As long as the cameras are on, Malcolm stays.
Danny Lewis driving through the middle gets the foul called. Here's a look. McCormick just reaching around and slapping down. End line ball, Lewis to inbound, lobs all the way out to Leak.
That was nice there. Malcolm waited for Danny to come get it. I thought Malcolm might decide to play point guard there for a minute, you know.
Lewis fakes the three, gives it to a wide open Bucknell who can't get it to go, and still the Towers can't buy one from deep.
Buck's coming off of a back injury. He sat out a couple of the early preseason tournaments, played last week, says he's feeling better, but when you've got a back injury, you certainly, it hurts your three-point shooting.
There's proof of what I was saying about the Towers' three-point shooting. 0 for 8. Athletes in action, not shooting much better at 29%.
I was going to say, 4 for 14 is no great shooting percentage either out there.
Bucknell's missed 3 of them. Devin Lewis a couple each.
Well, their best three-point shooters probably overall might be the young Englishman, Brian Balser, and he's yet to take a shot in the game. So I take that back. He took 1 2-point field goal and missed it, but Balser hasn't attempted a 3 yet, and I'd like to see Brian get in and get open for a few three-point attempts.
Garrison throwing the ball away. Obviously, his shoulder hurting him there on that pass.
Look at his eye. He looks like he's done a couple of rounds with Prince Nassim there. He's got a black eye as well, Garrison has. So take a look at that eye. That's a pretty good shiner there. Lennox Lewis, Nazim Ahmed. I think he's run into an English alley somewhere.
Fish. Oh, good hands from Duck to rip it away from him. Feeds Bucknell off and running. Oh, smart veteran play there on the break.
Nice play. Good defensive effort from Randy Duck. We missed that part of the play. Bucknell comes through and just follows it up very nicely to finish the play.
Steve Bucknell with just his second field goal. He's got 9 points. And a lot of that coming from the foul line, the 5 of his points.
Towers back out to an 11-point advantage right now. And we look nice, Kenny Harris gets away with a little push off there as Kenny Harris pushed Duck as he was going to the basket. Got away with the push off and gets the foul call on Danny Lewis.
Bond looking to come around the screen. Here he is.
Very stagnant out-of-bounds play there by Athletes in Action. They had 1 screen, 1 pop out, and a lot of guys standing around. Obviously, again, they just haven't been together long enough for better organization.
3 doesn't go for Kenny Harris. And the Towers in no hurry to get over to half court. Bucknell trying to feed Hanlon, couldn't. McCormick. Harris hits the 3.
Finally somebody knocks down a 3, as we've seen some pretty poor shooting behind the arc tonight.
First one of the night for Kenny Harris after he missed his first 3. 5 of 16 from deep, Dale.
The Athletes in Action have gone to a zone defense now. They're back playing a matchup, a 2-3 matchup zone. And it looks like, the coaching staff says, hey guys, they haven't hit a 3 against us yet, so let's see what we can do.
They have now.
And the old bugaboo is 2 things. 1, you go to a zone against a team not shooting well, and they start to light it up. 2, if a commentator on TV tells you can't do something, you certainly will.
Certainly can. Yeah, I've been there myself a few times.
Kiss of death, is it not? It's kind of like having your picture in the sun. Once you've been photographed there, you're in trouble. So, kiss of death.
Oh, nice spin from Harris trying to feed Fish, and there was a foul called. It's Martin Henlon.
Kenny Harris again driving to the basket. Oh, he gets it. Maybe that black eye that Garrison had did come from Martin Henlon, because if he hit Garrison like he just hit Kenny Harris, Garrison probably would end up with a black eye, and probably shortly thereafter Kenny Harris will as well. Martin Henlon looks like he'd be a nice sparring partner for Lennox Lewis. A big body for Lennox to punch at,
Lewis did well to keep it in bounds. Here's Duck. Duck, almost had it stolen away. It's Balsa. And the game's leading scorer, Malcolm Leak. Malcolm Leak actually has 22, double the next highest scorer in the game, which is Garrison with 11. Nobody else in double figures.
Nobody else for the Towers team in double figures either.
Duck hits a 3, and there you go.
There you go.
You said.
Zone defense. Bill Peterson over there, Athletes in Action's coach, doing what most coaches do, looking statistically at what the game has done so far. Says, guys, they haven't made any. Let's go zone, see what we can do. As soon as he goes zone, 2 for 2 behind the arc, the Towers come alive.
Towers missed their first 8 threes and hit them back-to-back. And suddenly they pulled out to a 14-point advantage. And there's Morton Henlon with another big heavy foul. This time it was on Ronnie Grandison.
You got to remember, as many big bodies as the Towers have, they can afford for Martin to come in and be a hatchet man. You know, if Martin picks up 5 fouls against a good European big man, so what? They go to the bench, Neville Alston comes in. If Neville gets in foul trouble, they go to the bench, Ray Schultz comes in. In their big bodies, they've got an awful lot of guys that can go out there and just lean on people. So, you know, they've got depth, they've got size, they've got strength, and you know, there's some nights where they're going to beat people into submission.
Towers look here, Billy, to be well on their way to tomorrow's final. What do you fancy them against Maccabi?
I think it'll be an interesting basketball game. I think tonight, you know, they've built a lead, and Ron has kind of been experimenting tonight. He's run with a lot of different lineups, and he's also looked at a lot of different combinations tonight. But tomorrow night, being a championship final, I look and going against a super European team like Maccabi Tel Aviv, I look for them to really stick to their main men most of the night and try to win the game.
Danny Lewis penetrating through the middle, flicks to the finger roll. He's got 8 points, 7 boards as well, Danny Lewis tonight, leading rebounder. He's doing it all as well, 4 assists, 3 steals as well.
Explosive in that replay. He blew by Kenny Harris.
Stolen away by Martin Henlon. Here comes Lewis again with the, nearly got a bounce pass through the lead. Kenny Harris, nice looking layup.
Kenny Harris says to Danny Lewis, if you can do it on one end, I can do it on the other end. And Kenny Harris blows by the defender and gets the layup.
Lewis.
It's a 13-point game here, but the Towers have really sort of changed the style from when I saw them in their preseason at Crystal Palace. They've gone to a half-court style where they're really not looking to run that often. Athletes in action doing a nice job getting back, but we haven't seen a lot of transition from the Towers.
Matt Garrison found that call very funny indeed. He obviously didn't think he got a foul on there. Here's a look at it, Billy. What did you think?
Well, I tell you what, he got all ball up top, but what a lot of guys don't understand is when you take a real dramatic swing at the scorer, at the shooter, you're probably going to get called for the foul. So, I mean, I think at the end of the play, instead of just staying up and tipping the ball away, he took a real swing down, and that's probably why the foul was called.
Leak, though, couldn't punish him by making the first. In fact, misses them both. And Garrison, gets a nice call there.
Martin Henlon crying to the official Mick Howell down there, and Martin was probably right in his wins there. That I think Garrison knocked that basketball out of bounds. I don't think Henlon was quick enough to beat Garrison to that ball and knock it out of bounds.
Here is Garrison now. Garrison from the corner had a nice touch early in the first half. Foul is 10 yellow, Malcolm Lee. Donnie Johnson getting ready to check back in. Here's another look as the shot went up. There's Malcolm Lee committing the offense. And he's going to the bench after picking up foul number 1. End-line ball, foul on the floor. Sean Dearden. 3 knocked out from deep by Robert White. And England leading the break, missing the layup, but there's the tip from Donnie Johnson.
Donnie Johnson, you know, right under the basket again. It seems that that's where his game is. Hopefully he can keep his pants on as his Donnie Johnson's shorts are just about to come off of him here. And, you know, I think he might be wearing one size waistband too big there.
McCormick with the quick release.
We need to get a close-up shot there for, you know, all the female viewers at home who are enjoying the game. But if we don't watch out, Donnie Johnson's definitely going to lose those shorts.
It's one of them sort of John Gaines, Ted Berry type. There you go.
Oh no! If you see that, look where they are now. He just pulled them up too. I saw him pull them up to that level. So, you know, he's got an interesting idea of where his waist is. But, you know, in Europe, FIBA officials will try to change that a little bit, I'm sure.
Assuming he's one of the
This is correct. This is correct. He may not be chosen to play. the funny thing is, as I said a moment ago, he's wearing number 14, Tony Windlass's old number with the Towers, and so far he's seemed to be a very big version of Tony Windlass. Very active, very aggressive, a lot of his game on the baseline, offensive rebounds, baseline drives and stickbacks. And when Tony Windlass was here, the Towers were a very successful organization, so maybe Donnie Johnson will bring some of that back.
Towers actually open up against Milton Keynes, so he gets a chance to go head-to-head with Tony Windlass, who's now, of course, about to start his second season with the Lions.
And doing a very nice job for the Milton Keynes Lions as well.
All right, we're midway through the second half of the second semifinals. The London Towers, who are looking good, they lead by 60 points to 50. We'll be right back after this.
Let's go.
Autumn on Sky One. Come on. The brightest stars share their tricks of the trade.
Bright, bright.
Guiding stars. Summer 99 Uncovered.
Love it!
They're back in business.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
The new professionals. Back for a brand new series. Dream Team. Come on! Survival of the fittest.
It's about fighting spirit.
Battle Stripes. Coming soon.
Yeah, what she was doing on the ball table.
The Villa. Autumn on Sky One.
Welcome back to Wembley. It's the hometown London Towers who lead the American touring team Athletes in Action by 60 points to 50. With me is the London Leopards coach, Billy Mims, and the Towers look good value for their 10-point lead.
Well, I tell you right now, the best value at Wembley Arena is the Chicago Bulls, lovable cheerleaders on midcourt. I mean, in the black PVC with the sunglasses on, fans here are being treated to some real NBA entertainment.
It's home coach Rona Beglin in his proper debut here at the London Towers, here at the Classic, and he'll be quite pleased with things so far, Billy.
Absolutely. You know, it's his first sort of official debut as the London Towers head coach in front of a television audience nationwide, a good crowd, and he's an excellent basketball coach. Last season at Weber State, they made the NCAA tournament, and in the first round, they upset the University of North Carolina Tar Heels. And anybody that beats the Tar Heels in NCAA tournament play has got to be doing a good job. So I'm quite familiar with his career as a coach, both in Alaska and at Weber State and other places. And there's no question he's a quality basketball coach that will bring a lot to the Towers in the British game.
For those of you who don't know North Carolina, it was the breeding ground of Steve Bucknell. It's where he went to college, and one Michael Jordan is also on the alumni there. Here's Ray Schultz into the game for the first time. Shot clock down. I tell you what, I didn't even see it. None of the Towers players saw it. I didn't notice the shot clock until I saw it to 1, and there's a turnover for the London Towers.
Very strange turnover at that as well, because as they came onto court after the long timeout, there was a bit of confusion about how to get out there and get started.
David Daniels.
Garrison had 11 points in the first half, and he has yet to get a good look.
14 points from 12 London Towers turnovers.
Yeah, but the Towers have a 10-point lead, so those 12 turnovers have not hurt them at this point.
There was nearly another one right there.
Yeah, you know, but it's one thing I always say, you know, it doesn't matter if you lead the league in turnovers or you know, on the night you turn it over twice as much as your opponent. The only thing that really matters is that scoreboard, and the Towers are up by 10, so unless they turn it over a heck of a lot in the next 9 minutes, they're still in position to win this game and meet Maccabi in the finals tomorrow.
I'd like you to be my coach if turnovers don't matter.
Not as long as you keep scoring more points than the opponent, they don't.
Well, I might be in trouble there. Here's Danny Lewis. Inside to Henlon, left all alone, wave off the score. There was a foul on Schultz first, and a legal screen just clearing that fish out of the way.
again, you know, we talk about the Towers' depth inside. Ray Schultz, another one of the big Towers. And as you look at this, he goes up to set a screen. Ooh, very physical screen by Ray Schultz. Good call by Mick Howell recognizing the foul.
Inside to Matt Fish, rattle around.
Now, I hate to sound like a broken record, but that big guy could do that all night. Why don't they come down the floor and try to go inside, inside, inside? He's got 5 points, and both times have gone inside. He's looked good.
Lewis penetrating through the middle, stumbling away, gets a whistle.
There's another good look at Matt Garrison's shiner there. We take Danny Lewis, beats Daniels. Could have been an offensive foul there. Towers might have gotten away with one on Randy Duck there. Away from the ball, Duck set a screen with his bottom, as we say here, and that's not actually legal.
It's only illegal if you get caught.
No, it's only illegal if it's, I guess, other than Will Johnson. Will Johnson up at Sheffield, Chris Finch's big man up there, is worldwide famous for setting more screens with the backside of his body than with his chest.
I'll check that one out on the 18th. We got Manchester Sheffield tipping off all season.
And all the Sky Sports fans out there watching that game live on TV should just keep your eyes on Will Johnson away from the basketball. He's at the wonderful use of his body parts.
Randy Duck going to the line.
Again, struggling at the free throw line here. Randy Duck, first free throw, not very good. Duck is a very good shooter, so he should make the second.
And does. Danny Lewis was there to tip it home had it not gone in.
And it's amazing how good shooters sometimes can look so ugly on one and so good on the next.
Harris backing out.
Harris pushing off again, but gets away with it.
Fish with a little stutter through the middle. Begum wanted a travel.
Billy Mims makes the call here. Let's go to Fish. Let's go inside. There's Fish. Probably did travel on the play. As Kevin Gato would say, got that European triple step.
Is there a danger here of the Towers getting too casual, thinking they might already be in that final tomorrow?
No, I don't think so. I just don't believe the athletes in action have enough juice and enough organization at this point to take the game. And the later this game gets, the more Towers try to run and finish them off here in this last 7 minutes. I just can't see the athletes in action having enough physical stamina. You know, maybe some jet lag, maybe the fact they haven't trained for a month. They've only been together for a week or so and a couple of practices. You know, I still think the Towers are in great shape.
Lewis off the back of the ring. Rebound is with Harris. He's off and running. He's still going all the way. Finds Garrison. Garrison struggles with it inside. And there's a foul called on Randy Duck.
And we missed some really good action as the ball. We'll watch the play here as Harris goes hard. But at the back of the play, Malcolm Leake and let's see who it was. Malcolm Leake and let's see, number 42. I'm not sure who number 4. Robert White.
Robert White.
Malcolm Leake and Robert White from the Athletes in Action were dancing. They looked like they were doing a little Texas two-step together as they were holding each other very closely, running down the floor, making sure that neither one got to cross half court. You know, fans sometimes get caught up watching the basketball all the time, Dan. Some of the greatest action in the game occurs away from the basketball. We've got a 7-point basketball game too, Dan. I mean, I keep saying the Towers are in great shape, and I do believe I'm right, but slowly and surely, athletes in action seem to creep back.
Johnson going after the boards, couldn't quite get it. Fish is spinning on the floor, doesn't get a traveling violation, gets it out. Garrison knocked it loose. Did that come off his leg? Yes, it did. Good spot by the referee. Looked like it came off his leg, and it's a Towers ball.
Excellent spot by Mick Howell there as Martin Hinland does. I believe it was Martin Hinland. Let's see. Yep, Martin Hinland. Martin, I tell you, I give him a hard time because he's big and he's lovable, and I say he's not quick. But he works so hard all the time, and he just does a lot of little things very well. There he was, you know, speed or no speed, working to get after Garrison, got a hand in there, knocked the ball out of bounds. I think he's having a laugh with Matt Fish there saying, I didn't know I was still that fast.
Danny Lewis on the ball for the Towers.
Hey, if Martin keeps that up, you know, he can get a side job as a pizza delivery man. You know, he can get there under 30 minutes, you know.
Here's Bond out running on the break. Oh, Lewis with a block. They want the goaltend. I think Mick Howell gave it. Mick Howell says to Andy Thackeray, count that basket.
That's going to cut the game to 5, and the free throw could cut it to 4. Great pass ahead. Walter Bond going to the basket. Not a very smart, I mean, I don't know about the foul there. The goaltending was definite. I don't really see a foul. I think we should have just let him play. Definitely goaltending. Basket should count. But he's going to get another one here. And if Walter Bond hits this, we got a 4-point basketball game with 6.5 left.
I agree with you on that one. It looked like a definite goaltend. Certainly seemed to be coming back down. But the foul, not too sure about. Bond rattles home the 3-point play. And suddenly it's a 4-point Towers lead. Bucknell almost lost it. And the foul is on Daniels.
That's a dumb foul there. David Daniels, although they're pressing, he's got no chance to make the steal there. Steve Bucknell is about 68 feet away from the basket, and Buck's had trouble shooting tonight from 15 feet. I don't think he's going to score from 68 feet away. Dumb foul by David Daniels sends Bucknell to the free throw line.
There's Ronald Beglin. He'll have just watched his team's lead being whittled down to 4. See Bucknell stretch it back out to 5, and you see the athletes just edging it here in the second half after Towers had dominated the first half.
So far in the second half, though, the Towers haven't done a really good job of getting the ball a lot to Malcolm Leake. And I think he's so important to their offense, both Leake and Lewis, and neither have really seemed to get themselves going offensively in the second half.
Fish in the post against Henlon. Henlon knocked it loose. Still Fish backing in. He wants to go to the basket. He does. He's short. Rebound Johnson kept it alive. Well played Johnson to stay in bounds. Lewis penetrating. Lewis to the... Oh, what a pretty play from Danny Lewis.
No sooner do I comment on Leake and Lewis getting involved offensively when those two lead the Towers break. Leake was there if Danny wanted to pass it. Danny decided to keep it. Big shot and one. Towers increased the lead.
6 minutes and 4 seconds to go in the second half. The Towers lead by 8. Athlete in action call a timeout as David Daniels fouls out of the game. Let's go down and take a listen to his coach's timeout.
Listen, we got to cut to the basket. All right, look, we're playing in 2s. 2 minutes, we're coming out. We got to make a run. It was 6. It was 4. It was 4. We got to keep the pressure on. No stupid fouls. We're not out of the game. All right? Get to the basket. Look, next time down, all right? I want to run triple. All right, Walt, I want you to be first, okay? Triple for Matt Garrison, okay? Fish, I want you right here, okay? Opposite, okay? We're triple for him. Walt, I want you right here, okay? Right
here. Malcolm's going to cut through. If he's wide open, that'd be okay, but let's try to get it to Steve right here. Make sure he's open, Danny, and then Donnie, you step in and see if we can get the power move for you. Okay, we're Laker. All right. Then from then on, I want to go number one, and 4 down, see if we can't get some screens and some movement. Wings have got to go down and come out so we can hit you go.
Can we go all the way through on the one?
Yeah. One.
So we heard the plays of both coaches there. Billy, what did you make of the 2 timeouts?
Well, first, Bill Peterson for the Athletes in Action kept telling his guys, we've got to make it work. We've got to go to the basket. And I like that. You know, every time they've gone to the basket, they have made something happen. And he keeps telling them, go to the basket. He's got some pressure defense coming up. He's going to try to make sure that they try their best to fight back into this thing. On the Tower side, Ronald Beglin there talking about their offensive sets. He called Laker first, then he asked for 1 and 4 down, and he was actually going through the execution aspect of those sets. So Ron's running a lot of pro set offenses, and again, they're trying to work on the chemistry and the execution of those pro sets.
Danny Lewis was fouled on that nice looking drive to the basket. He converted the score, and a 3-point play will take it back out to 9.
Now, how easily is that? You see, Athletes in Action were down 4, and now they're down 9 again. Couple of mistakes on offense, couple of mistakes on defense, and you dig yourself a deep hole again.
Garrison. How did that go in?
Donnie Johnson and Steve Bucknell fighting for the rebound. Johnson tipped it in.
That'll go down on the Athletes in Action captain. Will be accredited with that score, but I'm not sure who the captain is.
This is dumb here. I mean, at the end of the day, it's 5.5 minutes left to go. There's a lot of time left in this game. This is twice that Bucknell has been fouled. David Daniels did this. Now Walter Bond has done this. Bucknell hasn't crossed half court, and they're giving him free throws. That's twice that's happened. That's just not good basketball.
He misses the first. Misses them both, so it might not have been a bad foul after all. There's Roger Duhaney, the long-time captain of the London Towers. He's hanging up his sneaks, and he's going to be assistant coach here.
London Towers have a good staff there. They've got Mick Bett back for his 3rd consecutive year with the Towers as well. Mick's been there for a while now and been through several coaches, but Roger and Mick give Ron Beglin a lot of English experience and consistency.
Mick Bett, one of only 2 men to have twice won the Coach of the Year award. The other man's, it's a no-brainer, the guy upstairs won it 4 times.
Absolutely. Well, at the end of the day, when I first came to this league, Mick was an excellent head coach at the Thames Valley Tigers. First couple of seasons I was in the league, he did a tremendous job at Thames Valley. He also is a full-time varsity boys basketball coach at a school called Tassus High School. So Mick spends an awful lot of time with the game, both on the professional level, but also on the youth development level, working with high school kids in his area.
He was also a pretty decent player back in the day.
The very first time I ever met Mick Bett, I was coaching in Cork, Ireland, and Mick was playing for a team called BCP London, along with Julio Politi, and a few other old British basketball names, and they came over in our tournament. We lost to BCP London in the championship game. Then they came back. Mick said, credit to the tournament, they came back and won Wimbledon.
Remember it well. It's 5 minutes to go. 68-63, the London Towers lead it, and they've called a timeout. Let's go down and have a listen to Ron Beglin.
He passes his right hands. We just got to go with some instructions once in a while. So everybody, we don't. All right, we got 5 seconds.
No, it's 30 now. It's 30. Look, the shot clock.
Got a new shot clock. All right, let's go Ram. Ram, and then 4 down and 1. Okay. We've got to get open. We got to get open on the wings. Right side. Right side. You're on the left side. We're going to run Steve around the right side. Okay? Donnie, you set the screen. Martin, you bring him up. No, we got it out of bounds. We got it out of bounds. Huh?
Seems to be unhappy with the way the team's executing there, Billy.
Well, I don't know if it's unhappiness with the execution as much as he's frustrated that it's been so easy for them just to go down and do what they want, that they're playing sort of pickup basketball like Athletes in Action. And Athletes in Action sort of gotten Towers playing their game. What he's asking, he says, every once in a while, guys, we got to use some of this structure. In other words, against some people that don't play pickup basketball, they're going to have to execute their offense. Again, he's asked for 3 plays, Ram, 4 down, and 1. And again, looks like he's calling pro sets in series, very similar to the type of offenses that we run at the Leopards.
Lewis in the low post. Stepped out of bounds first. It'll be an Athletes ball. 5 minutes to go, a 5-point lead.
And Ron can rest assured that I will tape this game. My wife, Lynn, at home is taping this game for me, and I will find out what Ram 4 down and 1 is.
Is Danny Lewis not too sure he stepped on the line?
Very close there.
He might have
the
had
foot was over
it.
the line, and that's close enough for most referees. We had the benefit of the low-level look from the camera, the officials looking down on that foot.
Hanlon back out to Lewis, and they will get into a play and go through the execution as instructed by the coach.
And it's a 5-point game, so I mean they really need to. They're trying to utilize some of this now to say, well, can we execute in a tough situation?
Bucknell backing his way in, kicks out to Lewis. Lewis now drives through the middle. How many times have we seen that in the last 6 years?
I'm going to tell you something that Ron Beglin, I'm sure, will learn very quickly, that even when you execute, sometimes it's down to individual talent. The play didn't really work You know, they were looking for something inside. They didn't get it. Buck tried to take his man, didn't get it. Kicked to Lewis, and Lewis made the play. Here we go inside again. Big Matt Fish is going to go to the free throw line, the big left-hander, drawing Danny Lewis's third personal foul. But again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I believe every time the athletes in action have gone to the basket, something good has happened.
Fish can't make the first free throw.
Except they have struggled, you know, Fish has struggled a bit at the free throw line tonight. I think, what is that, 1 for 3 for Fish at the free throw line. Graphics department here. Graphics department very quick getting up the numbers for us there, and now he's 1 for 4. 25% is not good enough to win big games.
Johnson lost the ball. Leak couldn't quite find it for him, and the athletes come away with McCormick. Here's Fish on the trail. Fish through the middle. Finger roll, count the basket. And Fish will go to the line to try and improve on his 25% from the line.
Well, if he makes this shot, and I say that with a very capital IF, if Fish, as we see him going here, and Danny Lewis probably could have taken the charge there if he'd have done the flop, you know, and got the Academy Award, the Oscar as he rolled back. 1 for 5. He's dropped to 20% at the line.
But an offensive rebound gives the athletes a chance to trim it back further, and they do with a big shot from Garrison, and suddenly it is a 2-point ball game.
And they don't need to get aggressive here. It's a 3-point basketball game with 3:30 to go.
McCormick hit the ground hard. The referee stopped the game just to check he was all right, and now he's going to have to go off. Now Bucknell's having a few words with Bond.
Walter Bond, Steve Bucknell getting into it a little bit here. And I can tell you one thing here, although they're crusaders for the message, and they tend to preach a bit when they're on the road. Looks like Torrey.
Replay of it. Watch Bucknell hit.
I think he just caught an elbow, and it wasn't intentional. I think Walter Bond was trying to tell Bucknell it was intentional. He's gotten cut and may require some stitches up there possibly to close that. I'm sure the trainer down there for them, as you see him putting the gloves on. Again, that's a new worldwide rule with the, since the AIDS thing came in. Looks like he's gone a couple of rounds now with Lennox Lewis. I guess when you play the London Towers, you better come with your helmets on, because we've seen a black eye tonight. Now we've seen a cut forehead. Obviously a very big, physical, aggressive Towers team. But again, for Steve Bucknell fans out there, was not intentional. You know, he was trying to move the ball to get the pressure off of him. Caught Torrey McCormick with an inadvertent elbow.
Good spot by the referee there. Foul called on Sean Did, and if you see, you just got to grab around the waist to stop Bucknell getting away.
Now you see right now the athletes in action have trimmed this thing to a 3-point game with 3 minutes to go. The last thing they want to do is lose their composure now, get upset and foul people. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, every time they put the Towers on the line, you're giving them free opportunities. Now, of course, the Towers aren't making them, you know, which maybe that's a good strategy. Maybe athletes in action are just saying, hey, let's just foul them, you know. But I don't particularly think that's the way to go about it.
Bucknell misses them both. He's struggling from the line, missed 4 straight now, and he's dropped back down to 50% after he got right up to 70.
2-point field goal shooting by both teams tonight, well over 60%, and yet neither team seems to be doing very well. Free throw shooting for the Towers, 55%, 50 for athletes in action.
Lee trying to get it to Lewis. It was broken up almost, but Lewis was back to retrieve it. When was the last time you saw both teams shooting better 2-point shooting than they did free throw shooting?
I think it was a girls' high school basketball game I saw a couple of years ago.
There's the proof of it. Look how poor the shooting is from the line for both teams.
You just don't expect professional basketball players to come out and perform that poorly at the free throw line.
It's a 1-point ball game with 2.5, and just like the first game, McCorby, who were in yellow, came out strong as the Towers did here. But the athletes in action have come back 6 without reply, makes it a 1-point lead.
Well, the Towers have just become very stagnant offensively in the second half, and Nick Nurse will attest to this. When I saw them at Crystal Palace against Latvia, and they put 120 points on the board, it was a lot of transition. What we're seeing today.
Oh, what a tough play by Donnie Johnson off the feed from Steve Bucknell. A huge 3-point play.
Nice baseline move again. And again, so far tonight, everything we've seen Johnson do on the baseline. Like another Johnson in this league, Wilbur, up at Sheffield. but gets the job done, draws the foul, and has a chance now to to increase the lead to 4 if he can make the free throw.
Just stayed with it. Even though he got hit hard, he just hung on to it and got the shot up.
Right before that foul, Daniel, I was saying that when I saw them at Crystal Palace, they really looked like a transition basketball team. And I mean, they just jumped on the Latvian side and blew them away. Tonight, they looked like they played much more of a half-court second half and had become a bit stagnant in so doing.
Johnson makes the three-point play. The lead is back up to 4, or inside the final 2. The 3 is way too long. 2 athletes lining up for the rebound. Eventually, it's Granderson who comes up with it.
And there we go again, though. Three-point shooting has not been anybody's forte tonight.
Did, and gets it back out to Harris. Harris penetrating, trying to get it through. Fish catches it. Fish under pressure is fouled by Donnie Johnson.
You know, they've got plenty of time. It's 1:25 to go. And fans out there need to remember that now, the new rules, under 2 minutes, every time a basket scored, the clock stops. So the last 2 minutes is actually actual 2 minutes of basketball, not running time when you're not playing. So every time someone scores, the clock will stop. That 1:25 is a lot of time left. And if they can get to the basket like this and make some free throws, they could have a chance.
Fish struggled from the line all night, 1 for 6.
AIA as a team are now 8 for 16 at the free throw line, 50%. The Towers 13 for 23.
Blue 42, Robert White is the call.
If the Towers had been able to make their free throws tonight, this game would already be over. I mean, they're 13 for 23. Here we go again. Now, again, I don't understand this. The ball is a tough call there. I mean, tough call there. Danny Lewis is doing a lot of pushing and shoving there. I'm not quite sure where. Oh, sorry, that wasn't on Danny. It was away from the ball. It was on guarding on Bucknell.
Bucknell gets a good roll on the first.
But you see
what's needed it tonight too.
Dan, what's so dumb about that foul? You know you're pressing and trying to get a steal, but we don't even use any clock. It was 1:25 left in the game when Fish made the second free throw, and they went down and Buck shot 2 free throws, still 1:25.
Fish with the offensive boards and stick back.
Fish would like playing for me because the way he's looked tonight, I try to get him the ball every time down there. He's 5 of 8 inside for his 12 points. He's struggled at the free throw line, but he's only taken 8 shots. And I mean, again, when they've gone to him, something has happened.
Garrison checking back in as Lewis this time walks the length of the floor for some free throws.
Garrison back with the black eye, but Torrey McCormick has not been able to come back. And Torrey McCormick was doing a nice job defensively. He picked up a couple steals, got his hands on the ball, made a couple of plays for them. So, and again, the horrendous free throw shooting continues. 15 of 26, 58% at the line for the Towers.
Lewis makes the second. It's a 4-point game with 75 seconds to play.
Now they're going to probably come down here and jack up a quick 3, but I believe if they get the ball in the basket and get a score and then a good defensive possession, they're have a better chance.
Here is the jacked up 3 from Bond. Doesn't go, the tip not there. Johnson outreaches everybody. Traveling violation on Danny Lewis.
I could see that one coming. I could too. You know, that's the way they played all night. They haven't made smart decisions, and shot selection has not been good.
We've got 59 seconds to play. They trail by 4, but they'll have the ball back. The athletes in action have called a timeout. Let's go down and hear Bill Peterson.
If they go man, okay, I want to see them fist high, okay? With you two, I want you opposite, okay, on the block for the rebound. I want you to try and penetrate and dish to one of these guys, may get a good 3. Spot up and shoot the ball if you're open. You can go in the hole, fine. Listen, if they go zone like they were, that was a 1-3-1 last time, like this, okay? I want to run box on the baseline for Walt, okay? You and you on the blocks. Matt.
Steve, come around and Donnie, you set it up here. Donnie, set it up here. Malcolm, you got this wing.
Can you put Donnie down here, put Martin up here? Take this man out. Take the big man out.
Well, Bill Peterson there making preparations for both the 1-3-1 zone and the man-to-man. Which do you think Towers will come out with?
I think they'll come out man-to-man here. I thought they went the zone that time just to kind of throw them off, but I look for them to come out man-to-man. I wouldn't want to be in a 1-3-1 because what if they do get Alton for that big three? They really cut this thing close and tight. He's going to look for, if it's zone, he's going to look for Walter Bond on the baseline. And it looks like they're going to go zone. Unless they're disguising it right now, it looks like the Towers, yep, they're in a 2-3 zone. So let's look for they're going to run something for Walter Bond on the baseline.
The 3 won't go from White. Fish is fighting for it with Bond. He comes up with it. He throws it back out to Didden. Didden running through. Lewis wanted the offensive foul. Didn't get it. Bond's 3 is short. Chasing down. It came off a Tower last, and still they have the ball.
Very sloppy possession for them. They were running a box, and they were trying to get Walter Bond that shot, and he got it. But it was rushed. It was nothing. They took 2 very hurried shots in that possession. And again, that's the sign of a talented team that just hasn't been together very long.
Just wiping the perspiration up off the court. It'll be an end-line ball to the Athletes in action with Sean Dearden to inbound. They trail by 4 with 35 to play. It's into White. He fires up for 3. That's short. Rebound this time by Bucknell, and he's quickly fouled.
And I think now we can say, turn out the lights.
Here we go again.
The party's over. 4-point lead, 31 seconds to go, and the veteran, although Buck has struggled tonight, this is Bucknell time. He's going to make these 2.
Billy Mims confident as Steve Bucknell goes to the free throw line.
I think the party's over.
He makes the first. Nice.
See, I call that one.
As a whistle.
Hey, it's Bucknell time because it's game time. When the game is on the line, I don't know if I'd rather have anybody else up there than Buck.
Oh, he missed the second, though.
Yeah, but he might have only needed 1 to ensure it.
It's a 5-point lead inside 30 seconds.
The way these guys have been shooting all night.
White short on the 3. Bond kicks it out from deep is Did, and that's short. Still an offensive rebound. Bond will have a go. Still it won't go. Another offensive rebound. Oh, Fish passes it to Leak. Leak's off and running. Lays it in. And that is that. There'll be one last shot. It won't go. Martin Henlon with the rebound. And for the second year in a row, the London Towers are going to the championship game. And can they beat Maccabi Tel Aviv?
Well, I think they've got enough size, they've got enough talent, they've got enough depth. They're going to have to play with a bit more energy tomorrow night. I thought tonight they were a very stagnant team. Maccabi is very talented, and they're going to be a great test for the Towers tomorrow. Once again, a great championship final here in London for the Sainsbury's Classic.
The Athletes in action never gave up. They kept shooting from start to finish, but in the end, the London Towers had a little bit too much.
Great debut tonight. We see the Towers here at center court, but what a great debut for Rana Beglin. I mean, new basketball coach, first major European tournament, and he gets a great win here in the opening game of the Sainsbury's tournament for his Towers. He's got them back in the finals. Every time last year they played a big game on this court, they won it.
And our congratulations go to the London Towers, winners by 7. That means tomorrow they'll be playing the championship game against Maccabi Tel Aviv. And on the hardwood with Suzanne, Malcolm Leak, who had 24 points. He's joined by Steve Bucknell, who was 10 for 18 from the free throw line.
Thanks very much, Kev. Veteran leadership, talent and experience. It's still all there, Steve.
Yeah, it's a little bit there. I mean, we've got a lot of work to do yet before I get to where I want to be, but I'm just lucky that we won. We won the game. Everybody played well, played for each other, and that's all we can do.
Halfway there to defending your title. Malcolm, I think you've dislocated your finger, you've got a dodgy ankle, you're not playing too bad for those handicaps.
I just want to thank God for giving me the strength to go out here and play, and my team was looking for me earlier, and I just thank God for, the victory today.
Now, Steve, not so good, not so hot from the free throw line tonight for you.
Well, usually I'm a good free throw shooter. Everybody knows that, so I was disappointed in that, and that really affected me mentally, which it shouldn't have, but, I got things to work on. It's preseason, so I got plenty to go.
We've had a bit of a back injury as well, which we have to be fair, that's been troubling you a little bit, hasn't it?
Troubling me, but there's no excuse. Once you step on this court, on this black line, you got to play.
Right, well, Malcolm, you did play. You're halfway there to defending this title, of course. It's a good inside game that the Towers have. You also have a very deep bench, which is always helpful.
Oh, yeah, we got a lot of players. We got a starting five that's real tough, and our second five is even tougher, so they work us hard in practice. And, you know, we're looking for good things this year, but we got to keep getting better as a team.
Well, guys, we're running out of time, but wish you all the best for tomorrow's final. It's a tough team, Maccabi, but you're halfway there. Good luck for tomorrow's final. Thank you. Back to you, Kev.
All right, Susan, and yes, they are halfway there. What did you think of the Towers when AIA picked up the toughness down the stretch?
Well, I think it was a good test for them overall. You know, if AIA would have kind of rolled up and got out of there, it wouldn't have been much of a game, but they fought back, made it a level game, and you know, Towers had to kind of reach in and win in the clutch and make some shots in the clutch, which, hey, that's a great test for them.
They play Maccabi tomorrow. How must they play or differently or the same if they're going to be successful?
Well, I think they got to do a better job of executing. I mean, many times tonight they just got stuff because they were just better. They've been around longer, they were in better shape, but they got to do a job of executing. Coach Beglin kept saying to them, structure. Let's go back to this structure. Tomorrow, if they execute their system, play well together, they'll have a chance.
Okay, so let's make sure we look back and see. Maccabi were winners 88-85. And here you have the London Towers, also winners 79-72. So the winners play tomorrow 6:30, and it ought to be a great game of basketball. 6:30, right here, Sky Sports 3. You can't miss that one. Now the new basketball season is just around the corner with the first games on the 18th of September. There have been changes in the playing format, which we will look at first, and then I'll give you my predictions on all 13 teams and what I see as their fortunes for the 1999-2000 campaign. As Sheffield lifted the 1999 Budweiser League title, not only were they the last team this millennium to do so, but also the last side to clinch it in a single league format. The forthcoming season will see British basketball adopt an American-style conference system. The 13 teams will be split geographically into northern and southern conferences, and the new system will completely reshape the structure of British basketball. There are now 2 conference crowns to be won. The North has 7 teams compared to South 6. Teams play sides in their own conference 4 times, twice at home, twice away. And play sides in the opposing conference twice, once home, once away. Each conference's top 4 sides will qualify for the playoffs. The championship title now becomes the ultimate prize in the British game. The postseason playoff structure has also undergone change and has been streamlined to coincide with the introduction of the conference system. The new structure will standardize the competition, although its format will not be too dissimilar from the system it is replacing. The adaptations we'll see. The conference winners seeded. All rounds are all or nothing encounters. All games will be staged at neutral venues. Semifinals and final on separate weekends. And the final remains at the Wembley Arena. Alongside the league and playoffs, the Uniball Trophy is also taking on a new shape for the millennium. The competition will include the 13 league sides plus 3 invitational teams. These 16 teams will be split into 4 groups of 4, and the group stage will be seeded according to the team's performance in last year's competition. There will be no more than 1 invitational team and no more than 2 teams from the same conference in each group. Teams will play sides in their own group on a home and away basis, from which the top 2 sides in each group will progress to the knockout stages. Those stages will also be played at a neutral venue over 1 leg, with the final at the NIA in Birmingham. This is how this season's group stages shape up. Group A includes last season's runner-up Derby, who are joined by Birmingham, the Leopards, and Solent. Group B is an all-conference affair involving Leicester, the Towers, Thames Valley, and Edinburgh. Group C is headed by champions Manchester, who match up with Newcastle, Milton Keynes, and Sutton. While Group D houses the league champions Sheffield, Chester, Brighton, and Plymouth. From the 2 remaining events on the basketball calendar, the National Cup adopts single-leg rounds with the latter stages at neutral venues, while the All-Star game will be a battle of the conferences. Last season, the Towers, Sharks, and Giants raised the trophies. This season, it could all change. The goal is Wembley, and pretenders are not welcome. Last year, I picked Chester to be a playoff contender. However, their athleticism was the team's downfall, and second-year coach Robbie Pears needs to address that this year. Only former Worthing Bear and All-Star player Greg Francis offers any experience from the foreigners, whilst Dave Gardner has returned to playing after 1 year in a suit. Pears will be facing the ultimate challenge in turning this package into a winning one. But unfortunately, this year the roar of the Jet will be anything but supersonic. The Storm also will start from scratch. Gone are the starting five. Leading scorer York Williams, top rebounder Rico Alderson, backcourt combo of Burns and Rankings, and team leader John Tresvant. Bob Dunnywall Jr., despite his faults, did take Derby to their first final ever in the Uniball Trophy last season. New coach Martin Ford has no coaching pedigree, but he will have the experienced Tim LaSalle and Steve Nelson. As to the starting five, who knows? This team will struggle and the playoffs are an impossibility. Former Coach of the Year Jimmy Brandon really struggled in his first season in Scotland, losing the first 11 games. But the fans' belief never wavered, and they have the best sixth man in the British game. Top veteran Ted Berry is back along with 6'8" Michael New, Scottish international Ian McLean, and the team's leading rebounder Brendan Graves. They are joined by shooting guard Joe Burns from Derby, and the biggest signing of the summer, Berry's best friend John McCord, a top 5 player since his arrival 2 seasons ago. Edinburgh now has one of the top starting fives in the game. If Coach Brandon allows these guys to play, it will take a good side to stop these rocks from rolling. A playoff position is a guarantee. Nothing went right for the Leicester Riders last season. They finished second bottom in the league with the highlight of the season, a Uniball semifinal defeat to arch rivals Derby. Coach Dave Harris was a casualty of the bad season and is replaced by former Hong Kong national coach Tim Darling. Darling himself, a man of the Maple Leaf, has favored imports of a Canadian flavor.
I know their game and what they bring to the table, and also they know the system I like to run.
Carl Brown has returned and will provide some experience. This team will be better than last season, but won't contend for the playoffs. Last season's Uniball winners failed by a giant margin to live up to their potential. The pressure continues to build, and this could be one of the reasons why they couldn't attract the eligible England internationals Steve Bucknell and York Williams into the fold. The loss of the team's best shooter, John White, is going to be huge.
He makes your team play with so much emotion and things like that. Yeah, he goes overboard once in a while. Like him or don't like him, John White wins, period. And that's something that's really hard to replace. And Billy knows that, and I hope I don't know it as bad as Billy did last year, but I have a feeling I'm going to feel it.
Added to this is the loss of 6'10" Makiba Perry's 10 rebounds a game. The two Tonys are back in the form of Holly and Dorsey. They have greater depth in the backcourt with the signing of Sheffield's All-Star Travis Conlon and new American shooting guard Paul Handy. Ronnie Baker goes to the bench. Shooters Kevin St. Kitts and Jason Swain have left and haven't been replaced. Adding some height is 6-foot American Roy Harrison. However, I hope Coach Nick Nurse has been working on his own offense. This team will have to be more than outstanding if they're to collect any silverware this season. The breakup of Sir John Hall Sporting Club put a big hole in the finances of the organization. Consequently, only 2 senior players returned to the club, leading scorer Ralph Blaylock and 7'2" Ian White. This could become a long season for Craig Lynch. Gone are Wilkie, Fight, Jackson, and Miller. Canadian Andrew Mavis, fresh from scoring 12 points and 12 rebounds against the U.S. during Olympic qualifying this summer, jets over from Chester, whilst journeyman Chris Webber will hopefully have found a place to call home. The overall lack of quality will see the Eagles' wings clipped. Last season's league and cup winners want to go one better. The Sharks have never won a game at Wembley, bring back their entire team bar one. Nate Reiking joins, but questions abound if he's as good a point guard as former Shark Travis Collin, and does the league's MVP Terrell Myers need another shooter next to him? The Sharks had a great start last season, winning their first 12 games as everyone overlooked them.
The guys have to first and foremost understand that there'll be no innocence about what we're doing this year. Everybody's going to be coming for us. We have to be mentally tough. We've got to be physically tough. We've got to prepare well. We've got to play well. And we got to play hard together. And we do those things more often than not. Our schedule and our wins and our losses all take care of itself.
The bench players are solid, and shooters Ian McKinney, Big Richard Bam Bam Wendell, and Michael Payne. Returning for his 6th consecutive season as Todd Cawthon, he lines up with Wilbur Johnson and wily old veteran Peter Scanterbury. Success at Wembley will still elude them because if you stand still, it gives everyone else a chance to catch up. The Bullets have undergone a facelift at the top of the organization as new ownership takes over. But the duo of Coach Mike Finger and steady veteran Nigel Lloyd has remained intact. Nigel said he wanted an experienced team to play with, and he almost got it. 6'8" Justin Phoenix is back and ready to complete the entire season, and the addition of Corey Jackson gives them stability. The new center, Sean Jameson, a former Globetrotter, also adds a touch of experience, plus the support of Atete and Allen provide the team with depth. But to keep the balance, the Bullets have added 23-year-old York Williams. Last season, he led all Brits in scoring with over 17.33 points per game. Another young British talent had also arrived in town, former Tiger Lee Walker.
As a coach, my expectations are always that we're going to be battling for all the honors, and so that's what I expect. I think that we have enough talent on our team to battle for each of the 4 trophies.
The Bullets will compete for the Southern Conference title, and if things fall into place, this team could make it to Wembley. My only question is, who's the backup point guard? Change is the word in Brighton. Formerly the Worthing Bears, they have moved to the bigger and better Brighton Center. New coach Charlie Bannerman, the Leopards and Towers' former assistant coach, will have a tough job, but he's joined by Richard Scanterbury and Michael Brown, who have both joined from the Lions. The only returning player of significance is last season's leading scorer, John Gaines. This again looks like an adjustment year for the Bears. The fog has set in as far as the playoffs and Wembley are concerned. Starting his 6th year at the helm, the league's most loyal coach, Billy Mims, will lead his team into Europe. A tough recruiting season last year saw the 2-time former league champions fall to 8th place. Coach Mims hasn't been deterred. He's been out once again and found 3 new imports: Larry Johnson, Brendan Brantley, and Kenya Capers. Remember, Billy's the coach who recruited former MVPs Eric Burks and John White. Robert Youngblood is back, and the 5-year pro will provide veteran leadership. Peter Deppich, a Bosman player, provides outside shooting, and David Atwell has re-signed for his 2nd season.
This year, I think you're going to look for us to try to become the old Leopards. We're going to try to run. We're going to play fast-paced, exciting basketball. Hopefully, we've got the athletes to do the job that we did 2 and 3 years ago in winning the championships.
This team is an enigma, and in the Southern Conference, that is not good news. Big news here is that the Buck is back. Steve Bucknor, a triple trophy winner 4 years ago, has returned, and he rejoins some familiar faces. Neville Austin, who also returns after a year away, 6'10" Martin Henlon, and perennial all-star Danny Lewis. The Diamond, in his 6th season, will be adjusting to his 3rd coach in as many years.
Good things will happen this year. We have the maturity level on the team, we have the skill factor, and we also have a good coaching staff behind us. So I think we're definitely going to pull some trophies in this year.
Ron Abelgren, a successful college coach, has to learn the European game and make the adjustments to the veteran mentality. He also has to find ample playing time for this deep team. Malcolm Leak and Randy Duck return, along with Ray Schultz, who completes a trio of 6'10" players to make them the tallest team in the league. The Wembley winners are primed to make a run at Europe as well as the British game. The Towers are the most experienced team, and their will to win is second to none, but a lack of a legitimate inside scorer may stop them from dominating. But expectations are high, only time will tell, but I find it hard to bet against the Towers. following their best season under Coach Andrea Lane, things have changed. Veteran coach Tom Hancock, formerly at Oldham and Newcastle, returns to British basketball for his third stint, and his biggest signing to date is former league MVP Eric Burks. He'll play at the 2 alongside new point guard Modi Cox, who could be something special. Fans' favorite Tony Williams returns, as does 6'9" Broderick Bob. They'll be joined by former All-Star and Hemel Royal Kelvin Robinson. I think this team could be the surprise package in the league. The Southern Conference better watch out. The big news is the loss of perennial All-Star John McCord. But Coach Paul James is not panicking. He feels that this year's team would beat last season's.
Well, I think we'll come and we'll take the conference and we'll get back to the the championship finals and win it this year.
Remember, Thames Valley were Wembley runners-up and stalwarts Casey Arena and Jason Seaman return for their third straight season. Joining them will be 6'7" Billy Singleton and former Chester Jet Greg Meldrum. Whilst rookie Tony Christie has to live up to his potential if he is to fill the void left by John McCord. Martin Gottfried arrives from the Towers with championship credentials. The problem I see is who will run the floor with Arena. The Tigers have been runners-up at Wembley the past 2 years, and the third consecutive appearance can only be a dream. It's time for me to stick my neck and reputation on the line. I picked Sheffield, Edinburgh, Manchester, and Chester to qualify from the Northern Conference, while from the South, the Towers, Birmingham, the Leopards, and Thames Valley will win through. I predict an Edinburgh Towers final, with the Towers repeating last year's success and taking the championship. The bookies, though, see it differently. They feel the Sharks or the Giants will triumph and don't seem to have much faith in my dark horse, the Edinburgh Rocks. A lot of things there, so we'll try to cover and verify as much as we can. First of all, your joint top table by the bookies, but as you looked at that, I could see you saying, no. Why is that?
I don't know. I think they're still stuck on last year's teams a little bit there. They'll get those. We're not a very good bet at the bookies right now, that's for sure.
Eric Burks goes over to the Milton Keynes Lion. Was that with the blessing of the Leopards?
Well, that's news to me. Last I heard, he was playing for somebody in Portugal. So yeah, I saw it for the first time tonight there, know nothing about it.
What will that do to their team at Milton Keynes with him?
Hey, I like Milton Keynes. Looks like they got a nice crew put together there. You know, Calvin Robinson was a real athletic rebounder, was an all-star when he was here. Bob had a good year, Broderick Bob. Winless, always produces year in and year out. So I think they got a nice base there.
And they have a new little guard there, Modi Cox, who is going to surprise a lot of people, I think, in this league. You this year, putting your team together, how do you feel about your squad?
Well, I got to feel better than the last season start. But people don't understand the recruiting process is a difficult one. Sometimes you go after guys for 7, 8 weeks, 7 months. You don't get the guys you want. You go for secondary players. Last year, we didn't get the guys we wanted. Late before the season, we took what we could get. This year, we went out, worked hard, focused on 4 players, and got those 4 players. So hopefully we made the right choices, and only time will tell.
So we don't have to worry about you saying a little bit later that these weren't the guys we really wanted. We really wanted that other guy.
I can tell you right now,
Okay.
we got the guys we wanted. Now,
Okay.
I just hope I was as right this time as I was when I took Burks and White.
So you have young blood that he's going to play for you in Europe. Who are you going to put on the floor for the European competition, which is something new and different for your organization?
Absolutely. We're very excited about that. Going to the Korach Cup is a big step forward for our organization, and we thought the right step for British basketball. Youngblood, we don't know his status yet. He's in the process. He's applied for a passport. He's married to an English citizen. He's got 2 children that were born here in England, 3 others that he's adopted. So we're looking forward to hopefully him getting that passport. So right now we don't know his status. We have registered Kenya Capers for Europe. David Atwell is back. Mark Kwashi we brought in from Iceland, who did a very good job last year for Tony Garbalado in Iceland. And our first opponent in Europe is IRB Reykjanesbær, which is an Icelandic 1-2 championship side. So Mark hopefully will bring us some of his experience from Iceland, and I'm sure counting on him to give me a heck of a scouting report for our first European opponent.
So Youngblood has signed for your team coming back this season?
Absolutely.
Okay, for you, what type of squad do you have? For me, I'd say missing John White, but who's going to get the rebounds with Makiba Perry gone?
That's probably the big question. Those 2 guys, I mean, league's leading scorer and probably the best rebounder in the league over the last 3 seasons are we're missing. I think we're going to have to rebound a little bit more as a team. We brought in Roy Hairston to help us a little bit on that. Tony Dorsey, Tony Holly are going to have to step their numbers up a little bit. Replacing John's points, I don't know. I hope we're a little bit more balanced this year. We brought in Phil Handy, who looks like he's pretty decent. Travis should be able to score a little more. I don't know. I think we're just going to be a completely different team, maybe a little smaller, maybe a little quicker.
Speaking of a John, there's a John McCord who's joined Edinboro. What are we looking at with this team?
Well, not just John McCord. I mean, he's the big story, but I mean, I think Joel Burns last year had a tremendous season, with the Derby Storm, and Joel asserted himself as one of the league's best guards. And now he takes that to Edinboro. You've got a great backcourt there in Joel Burns, Ted Berry. And then you look at Brendan Graves coming back for that inside strength. You look at John McCord bringing all the things he brings to the picture. I think that they are six very good players in Ian McLean. After that, Jimmy's got some confidence in some very young Scottish kids like Ross Sifris, for one to mention, who did an extremely good job against us when they beat us in Edinboro last year. So at least they're 6 veteran players deep. They've got good young players. If they believe in themselves, work hard, they could be a real dark horse contender.
Speaking of John, they lose John at Thames Valley. You've played Thames Valley in the preseason, beat them by 30 or 40 points. They seem to me to be a very unathletic team.
Yeah, I think that's probably their biggest question mark. Everybody thinks right now they're a little unathletic. You know, we beat a real small squad. They only had 7 guys there, and their backcourt was real light. But I think they'll make some adjustments, get the rest of their guys in, maybe even make a change or two once they get going. But, you know, Paul James, he's proven himself. He's been right there battling for everything, you know, the last couple of years. So I think he'll figure it out.
Sheffield, continuity, but no changes.
Well,
that type team.
Well, I don't know. You say no changes, Kev. I think Nate Reinking's a very big change. He's different. Chris Finch talking to me last week said he's going to try to think now about putting Terrell at the point some, Reinking at the 2. And he's got confidence in Terrell at the point, so does Terrell Myers. But you still bring back the player of the year. Last year, Travis Conlon did an exceptional job for them as a playmaker, but was not always a consistent threat to score. Now, you got to guard Nate Reinking and Terrell Myers every night. I don't know if there's a more potent backcourt in the league than those 2 guys. They can both shoot the 3. They can both score a lot of points. And then the front line is strong. And they bring in Andre McLeod, a veteran big body that can score. So I think they've actually made some changes that will really help that team go forward.
Your former team, the Birmingham Bullets, in the offseason, they pick up Lee Walker, York Williams. Didn't they pick up the same guy?
I don't know. I think they picked up 2 really good guys there. I think he's planning on pushing York up a little bit more to the 2 spot. In fact, I know he's going to. In fact, I think it's in his contract that he has to start and play 40 minutes at the 2 spot. But
get 30 shots too.
But you know, and Lee I think will play more of the 3 for him. So two of the best young English talents in the game. He got them both. I wouldn't be surprised the way York's game is elevated and rising on a daily basis if York doesn't lead the league in scoring this year.
The Derby Storms pick up Richard Dumas, former NBA player, has some controversy following him around, but what is this going to do for their team?
Well, again, I'm not quite sure whether he's there, he's not there.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of controversy about it. Spoke to Martin Ford, and and he's the coach of the team, and he couldn't confirm it to me either. They've been sort of a mystery. You had a lot of question marks up there. Personally, right now, I'm still not quite sure who Martin Ford's going to put on the floor. So I think maybe they're an unknown entity right now. And if they come out, they throw open the black curtains, and out come the Storm, and wow, look at this team. They could be like last year. Nobody expected a lot out of them last year, and look what they did. Again, Martin has been around that team last year, knows what sort of an unpredictable start can do for you. I look for Martin Ford to be a surprise.
This year coming up, the Wembley Championships are 1v4, 2v3, single eliminations to get there. Your feeling?
Anything can happen. That's what it is. It's one game. It's not. If you have a slip up, you're done. It's not like you can battle back and win a 2 out of 3 or whatever. I mean, you look at this year, the 4 teams that made it to Wembley all lost the first round game. We had 4 different teams there that made it. So, that's what you're looking at.
So you happy or mad about that type of setup?
Well, I'm not mad. I actually like it because I think it's going to be, it makes Wembley something really special. Whereas, you know, a lot of people in the past have said Wembley's really special. You know, I think the league was the big thing. Now, Wembley is it all.
Okay, so one of the guys that played for both Nick and Billy, former MVP, John White, is playing in Strasbourg in France this year, so we'll keep an eye out for him. But join us for the Sainsbury's Championship Final tomorrow. It starts right here on Sky Sports 3 at 6:30. The London Towers take on Maccabi Tel Aviv. Quality basketball continues. Our thanks to our guest coaches, Nick Nurse of the Manchester Giants and Billy Mims of the London Leopards. We'll all be back here tomorrow, and we look forward to seeing you. It's bye for now.